huge. He's 25 fucking pounds, and he's not even 4 months old yet.
So it takes you more than like your pinky to lift him up now, or
Yeah, I can
you
still
gotta
pick him up.
use like a full like middle finger to pick him up. You're like, ugh.
Yeah.
It's still a small plate, but it's a plate. What breed is he? Is he looks like a hound mix, right?
Yeah.
Ooh,
mostly.
ooh!
Bloodhound.
I just realized, since I already picked Leah up, and I'm not doing it after the game, I'm gonna go make myself an alcoholic drink. I'll be right back, gentlemen and ladies.
Okay. What was that, Becky?
He's Bloodhound, Mastiff, and Boxer.
Looked like you had some bloodhound in for sure. Yeah, it's gonna be a dense dog too. Dense both mentally and physically. I mean physically in that he'll be, like a rock, but he'll probably be very stubborn and a little dumb too. Although bloodhounds are smart, that might offset the bulldog.
Yeah, he's not as dumb as you'd think he is, but the other two dogs are both, herding breed, so they're both really smart. So he seems kind of dumb compared to them, but he's actually not overly dumb. He's clever. He's not like super smart, but he's pretty clever. Like he is an escape artist. Like he got out of his kennel earlier. So.
Yeah. That was the I don't know, the hierarchy going. Are the girls trying to boss him around, or is he trying to alpha?
Oh no, they whoop his ass.
Yeah.
They hump him. It's hilarious. And they're female, so that's why it makes it funny. So.
Esther, Harold is super submissive anyway, and Esther tries to always be the boss, so she tries to hump him all the time. And it's funny because like he's
Feminism. Hashtag feminism.
I mean, he's a purebred corgi, so they already have back. Or they, when they get older, they always have back problems. So I can't let her climb on him like that. But she constantly tries, and she knows that I'm going to yell at her the moment she does. So like she'll start it, and then as soon as I look at her, she'll like jump off and like look at me like she's surprised, as if she knows she's not supposed to be humping the other dog. Funny. I can't laugh because then she thinks it's funny. So. Anyways. All right, then let's get started here. We might as well go ahead and roll HP, and then if you guys have your, leveling choices and stuff ready to go, then we'll do that. I gave inspiration to everybody. Obviously it was a long slog of like heavy conflict fights and stuff like that. So, and then constantly being drained of resources completely.
I think at least Pogo's starting to get used to it. He's starting to embrace it and just go along with this interesting choice of life has chosen to throw at him.
But inspiration for that. Good job, everybody. For Fox Arteme, I noticed you actually forgot to re-equip your leather armor. I don't remember when it was that you guys had to unequip it. Like, did you guys get surprised in the middle of the night or something like that?
Oh my gosh.
Was it when she shape changed?
No.
No, it was when I did Mage Armor 4.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, that was right before your sneak
The
mission.
stealth mission, yes. Yeah. And okay. Oops.
So I re-equipped it for you. Your AC was quite a bit lower. Actually, it's only one. Leather armor is only 1 point, so it was only 1 point lower since then. But I re-equipped it for you.
We actually, what was it we figured out a while ago that for some reason I think I had accidentally clicked on something and changed like a ton of my main numbers down by modifying something. Remember that? Yeah. I had no idea. Like I was just playing with way less. Yeah, it was hilarious.
Similarly, though, Fox related, you can wear medium armor. You're still wearing light, but if you chose to, you can wear medium armor as long as it's not made out of metal, and that would boost your AC by a good bit. So that's
okay. Yeah,
worth
I'll
looking
probably
at.
look for medium leather armor.
Yeah, there's scale, chain, like a chain shirt, I think is medium. There's a bunch of choice. Actually, sorry, chain's metal. But you can, get chitinous versions or things made out of animal scales, things like that.
Oh, would I be able to make some myself from like stuff I find?
You wouldn't be able to. I mean, not and have it be functional. Let's say you could make one for decoration, but you'd need a professional to actually make functional armor that doesn't inhibit you otherwise. Like, if you had the skills for that, sure. You don't have those, so take.
Okay, but since we're still in the fort, I could bring some of this stuff, like some of the skins and stuff I had, and ask somebody else there to make one.
Yep.
And then just give them some extra pieces in case anybody else needs armor. Just pay me.
Yeah, as long as if you find materials enough to do that, sure. Obviously, they're a little bit limited on existing materials because pretty much everyone else would be wearing steel armor. or stuff made of glue anyway. But if you find materials enough to do that, yes, there are. You remember this is right before Pogo joined, but you remember there is a Warforge that the Mio Tower running to kind of repair gear and so on that Normal dealt with.
Okay.
They're definitely
I
available.
don't remember his name off the top of my head, but I know we ended up asking him one thing.
You guys never ask names anyway, so it really doesn't matter. Nobody ever knows anybody's name.
I eventually asked the Forge Master's name. I just can't remember what it is now.
You
But
did.
it took like weeks to do it.
Mostly because I kept making fun of you guys for never asking names, like never introducing yourself.
In my defense, I don't do that in real life most of the time.
I don't either.
I'm just like, hey, how's it going? Nice to meet you. And I literally leave it at that.
Sure.
And they're like, by the way, my name's. I'm like, I don't care.
That's fair. Just it makes it for me like
I don't even think you get names. Like, Jeremy, I feel like I've met you when you've met people and you're just like, hi.
I mean, yeah,
Well,
there's no reason for me to.
Yeah.
Sure. I'm specifically referring to, for the game mechanics of it. This is a selfish thing. But if you guys don't learn somebody's name, I'm not just going to tell it to you because your characters wouldn't know. So I end up having to describe that Mio Tao guy or that Crowblinder with the cut up ear, something like that, as opposed to just saying the name. You know what I mean? Which would make things much simpler for me. But
Pepperjack, the one who's always eating a piece of cheese.
yeah, that's
Right?
it.
Yeah.
So, all right, for HPs, Ben, yours is a D12. Sorry, Fox and Justin, yours are D8s, and Becky 6.
Big number, no whammy. Yes!
Yeah.
Okay, wait, sorry, what do I have to roll?
Roll a D8, Fox. It's the third from the right.
Dude,
And-
8, 6, 11?
Yeah, shit.
Good rolls.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and
I had 2.
but Fox, we actually re-roll 1s and 2s. So go ahead, Fox.
Oh yeah.
Wait, you said it was the third or fourth one from the right?
Third from the right. You rolled the right one.
Oh, okay.
There you go.
Whoa! You're
Right,
so
there's-
nice, Jeremy. I'm not gonna let him reroll 1s and 2s.
I think I could be wrong. I think the rule is actually 1s, but
Oh, okay.
for the first 3 levels, Fox rolled 1s and 2s. So
Oh, so we're like, this is
dying every fight.
otherwise she'd be like level 7 and have 14 hit points.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right.
That's actually where I was going with this, so let's not laugh about it.
Yeah. This has actually been a struggle, so if we could not, that would be fantastic.
Norok's con modifier is 2. That means a new total of 13, meaning your max HPs are now 73G. Becky,
Shit, if my con modifier is -2, do I lose hit points off that 8?
I think it's a minimum number because you
Alright.
definitely still apply the con modifier, but I think it's a minimum number.
Got it.
I'd have to check the rules in that case if it were to happen. Con modifier is +1, so another 7, meaning 54 for Sarah. For Arteme, well, an 8 plus con modifier of 2 for another 10, meaning 55. And Pogo, 8 plus your 1, so another 9, meaning 57 HPs. All right, you guys have your new HP totals. It doesn't heal you, by the way, so any wounds you had previously, which were Norok and Sarah, both you guys still have those wounds. You can rest or whatever to recover those as needed, but your maxes are boosted. Ben, go ahead and drag your. You remember how to do it, so drag your level over, so it'll add your Feral Instinct, I think is what you get.
Yeah.
Which is advantage on initiative, and then I think you can't be surprised as long as you use your
Rage.
Yeah, as long as you rage immediately, then you can kind of ignore surprise.
Who's
go ahead.
next?
Yeah, if everybody knows what to do, go ahead and drag your level over. Justin, do you remember how to do it?
No.
Okay, so go to library, and then classes. Library's in the bottom right. Then go to classes.
Uh-huh.
Find the one that's associated with yours. So for Justin, yours is from the player's handbook. Fox, yours is the player's handbook. Becky, yours is
then-
Shadows. Xanathar's over. Okay.
And then do you just go to where it says
And you-
level 7 and
Well, actually, no. What you do is just bring that list up, so you see the
Okay.
list there when you first hit classes and you have the list. Look for the one that says, in your case, it says Bard, and then to the
Bard.
right, player's handbook. grab the info button and drag it over to your character sheet, and then you're going to drop it on the main tab where it says class and level.
Okay. I gotta go back like that.
Yeah, go to your main tab first, probably. Should have said that ahead of time.
Class and level. Okay, Bard 7.
There you
I
go.
actually don't think I get anything besides a level 4 spell slot and like
Yeah,
one.
and
I think one extra level 3 spell slot. I think that's all I get.
Oh yeah, well you get more spell slots, yes, but you get to choose your new spell, and then you can swap. I already told you this, of course, because you were brand new when you made this character, level before last. But you can swap out more than that if you choose to. But
yeah, I'm gonna swap out one spell
Okay.
for right now at least. Do I tell you or do I do this myself?
no, I have to drag the spells on there for you. So
Perfect. Well, I am going to get greater invisibility for level 4, which I'm pretty excited about, and then I'm gonna swap out tongues for another. Take that cleric spell out and swap it in for the other cleric
That
spell.
wasn't your cleric spell, was it? You
Was it
got
cleric
bless.
spell?
No,
I got
you took
bless.
and spiritual banjo or spiritual weapon.
Oh, that's right.
So it's not your magic secrets. It's just one of your regular bard spells was tongues.
Oh, that's right. So in that case,
Tongues for what?
come back to me. I'll see you in a minute.
All right, that's done then. And your feral instinct probably auto.
It's confusing because a lot of the magical characters share so many.
There is a lot of overlap,
things.
yeah. And in
Yeah.
fact, like half of your spell list or so of your level 4 ones are also on Artemis' spell list. So like she gets hallucinatory terrain and
Which I thought about actually, but I couldn't think of a good enough reason to use it at level 4.
it's a really badass spell as long as you're creative with your illusions. But
Yes, but the problem is like you also have to have the terrain for it.
yeah, well, you create the terrain. The idea being that there's like a pit, like
You can cover it, or you
yeah,
could.
you cover it so that creatures would run over to it and essentially kill them all automatically, or at least get them out of your way.
But if there's no pit,
yeah, exactly. It's pretty situational to be for its usefulness. That said, at least for Artemis, since it's not a spell choice for her, she could just choose to prepare it that day. As long as you know ahead of time, and she has time to rest. Then she can prepare it for that day, and then you guys would still have access to that spell without it costing you your, a limited spells choice. So, all right, Feral Instinct is on there for Ben, so Norak is ready to go.
I know what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna swap out tongues for shatter.
Okay.
That's a level 2 bard spell. Because I'm just gonna make sure that I swap out spells from the same classes. I don't want to get too confused with the ones that I took from the other with my magical.
Well, that's
Whatchamacallit?
I don't know if you're. I would say that you would be allowed to, because I don't think it's that big of a difference. But I don't know if you're supposed to be allowed to switch out your additional magic secrets. Probably. I mean, I don't see any reason that you wouldn't be able to, but I would allow it either way.
Got it.
Whether you could or not.
I'm excited about greater invisibility. Shit's gonna be rad cool.
That one, you or a creature you touch becomes invisible till the spell ends. Anything target's wearing is also invisible. Basically, it doesn't break.
Doesn't break if I attack or do anything.
It's still concentration, so you can
It's
still get.
it's no blink spell, but it's still pretty cool.
Well, blink. Okay, I think you're confused about what blink does, but that's okay.
I think I am.
It's still a really cool spell, but blink half the time basically puts you in I think it's the ethereal plane.
Yep.
Okay. So Norak's done. Pogo's done. Oh, don't forget, but guys, if you want to, you can also change out your inspiration options. You can change that out on levels. So if there's, if there's one that you decide you're not using very often or whatever, you can switch it out if you want to. Box, yours are, I put them on your sheet for you already, so you can go through your list and just prep whichever ones you want. You can prepare 10 now.
Wow.
Okay.
So keep that in mind, and then 10 in addition to all of your ones that are marked with the asterisk, which is like 6 spells. So it's like 16 spells or something that you can have now. And your new circle ones were freedom of movement, and I can't remember the other one. Divination is what it was. So those two are 2 automatically prepared spells you have from now on as well. That are just permanently on. Okay. And Becky, you probably had your spell choice, figured out like a year and a half ago. So what is it that you wanted on there?
Right, so I'm going with Blight,
Okay,
Light.
and then I want to switch out a couple things.
sure.
Was it Paladin? That must have been what I was taking them from. Paladins.
No, you got it from Cleric.
Oh, Cleric?
Yeah, spiritual weapon and bless you took from the Cleric list
Got it. Double check on that.
from your additional magical secrets. All right, so Blight's on there now. What is it you're looking to swap out?
Oh,
Alright.
it's Guiding Bolt from the Cleric spell list as level 1. That's all it was. So I must have just said the wrong thing.
Huh?
You said I had those Cleric spells. Oh, but Tongues wasn't from... Never mind. I'm just
Tongues
confusing
is part
myself.
of stuff.
Just kidding. Just kidding, everybody.
If you're trying to keep
I'm going
it...
to swap out Bless for
Okay.
Guiding Bolt. That's what I want to do.
All right. And but also Tongues for Shatter?
Tongues for... Oh,
You
Can I do two?
Yeah, I don't care.
yeah, I'm going to do those two then.
Bless is useful too, but I don't think you've had many opportunities.
I've used it once. The problem is I have too many concentration spells. I literally 80% of my spells are concentration, so I can only do one at a time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, are you in the same boat? Yeah, I had to. Yeah, I'm having to play around, getting all weird with them.
There you go. All right, Guiding Bolt is on there for you. Shatter and Greater Invisibility. So you're all set.
Cool.
All right, what were the
Sweet.
switches, Becky?
Okay, so for meta magic, I'm gonna get rid of the Empower spell and get the Distance spell.
All right. I do. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Oh, okay. I don't have an effect for it in there. I'm gonna create one, and there will be a cast button for it. But you'll just remember that you have it in there. Of course, it'll be in your list, so you'll see it.
And then I'm gonna get rid of False Life and get Dispel Magic.
Was False Life one of your shadow abilities, though? Not a spell?
No,
Is
False
it
Life
just
was
what you
one of the very first ones I ever picked. It was just
Okay.
regular. Shadow Knife was the...
Okay. All right. You have Distant Spell there now. I'll add a cast button for it. All right. False Life. Sorry, what was it for?
For Dispel Magic.
All right. There you are. That is done.
Then most of my spell issues is either I'm gonna hit friendlies or it's concentrate.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the friendlies one is sometimes a pain too. That's why I keep putting randos to sleep.
Actually, sorcerers are really the only ones that get this. But in fact, Becky will have this. It has the option for this one anyways. But there's, I think it's called Careful Spell, which allows spell shaping essentially, which allows you to
Oh.
fireball and ignore certain targets within it, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Pretty cool feature.
You can ignore, I think it's 2 targets. 2 or 3.
Okay, and your sorcerer points didn't automatically update, so let me change that for you real quick. So you have 7 now. There you go. All right, any other changes, Becky?
No, that should be it.
All right, then in that case, let me make sure that I got everything. Artemis prep spells. Nobody wants to change inspiration options?
I'm good on mine. Pogo's good on his, I should say. Get this accent back. Haven't done it in a while.
Cool. All right, that is everything. So we will go ahead and get started here.
Am I still hiding behind a giant dragonfly?
You sure are.
All right.
Where we left off, everybody is inside the walls of the newly raised Crow Fort. Pogo is attempting to eavesdrop on the shell. Arteme helping the wounded with the healers. Norak and Sarah were with Ozzy and Clover in the teleportation. So, I think. Well, we'll start. We'll go ahead and start there actually with Pogo. Outside in there's still this just constant freezing, blowing wind. But there are soldiers of Neotau all around that are immediately set to work. Basically, you see a long chain of soldiers of Neotau that are butchering the massive corpse of the Amora that it cartwheeled into Dunskathak in the middle of the fight. Half of the body is inside the walls, and it's just bisected right where the wall comes down. But there's a line of men, women, and the bovines that are handing chunks off to the next person before reaching to the right and grabbing another and just sending this kind of long ferry line of chunks of this steaming meat up over the stairs and then throwing it over the ramparts into the outside. Apart from this fresh snow, though, the Crow Fort actually looks like well lived in, as if it's been here for dozens of years. But you guys, of course, saw it raised, but it doesn't look like new construction. It looks like it had always been here. But the soldiers, the Crowblinders, seem entirely nonplussed, as this is just everyday life for them. Whereas the Miotau are like slow and cautious. You notice that specifically looking at the stairs, Pogo, that the Miotau aren't standing on there, and it seems like they're avoiding any of the construction. They're just they just don't trust this fortification. But looking around and trying to do your best to hide in this blanket of fresh snow beside one of these giant flying insects, you see the shell arranged in a circle around the white armored one, the speaker that you talked to. And through this kind of static, crackling, arcane sound in your ears, you hear her, which you think it's a her anyway, saying in mid-sentence, you hear her say, outside their lines, Crack, Troon, and Zizek spotted 4 dozen, mostly half-men, armed for war. Rudin Commander requests a corridor allowing them entry. Fly low, keep our guard up, expend ordnance as fitting, straight line west. And you see the ones that are around her nod. They don't say anything. There's no audio from them, but they nod, and she shouts obliteration, which you get the impression sounds like a war cry of some sort. And then in response, the red, blue, and black shell around her immediately they stand up straight and they kind of bang an armored palm against the left side of their chest plates. They do it twice in rapid succession. And then the circle breaks, and each one of them moves with purpose over towards their respective mounts. You have maybe half second before the one that's coming towards you will see you. What do you do?
I'm just gonna walk away the other direction, pretending like I was just going on a stroll. But I'm gonna do it with a very very busy face on, as if I'm walking with purpose.
Give me
like a persuasion or deception.
Yeah, I think deception. Well, natural 20. Okay. You walk away, unable to prevent this. Leave a trail of footprints in the snow where you had walked to the dragonfly and then turned around and walked away. But without turning around, you don't really notice whether they seem to care. Without able to see the look on the red armored one's face. You make your exit walking away.
Is the red armored one still there? Did the red armored one go back to her steed then?
No, didn't he? You walking away, pretending to not be, not notice or just be accidental. You wouldn't have seen whether he was looking at you or not. But when you do turn around and look back after you're 10 feet away, he's just climbing aboard the dragonfly.
All right. I'm actually gonna. I don't know why I did this. I'm actually gonna walk back with purpose and just ask, since I still can talk to them. Any way I could buy some of those bombs from you? I have gold.
Give me an insight check. Looking, you can see their eyes is all you can see. It's the only skin you can see is basically the skin right around their eyes. And it looks pretty much humanoid. It's dark, but it looks pretty much humanoid. Beyond that, they're covered head to toe. So as far as reading a response from some of this, all you can see is eyes, and that's kind of difficult to get, and how they might feel or be reacting otherwise. But there is no react. This one does look to be male as far as you can tell. But he looks at you as best you can read is like dispassionately, like emotionless. And then he looks over at the white speaker and he wraps the back of his right hand against the palm of his left, like he's slapping his own hand. And it makes this kind of loud clanking sound like bone on bone. There's noise all around because they're all kind of walking to we're all walking to the dragonflies and getting ready to board. But the speaker immediately notices and she looks over, and she kind of tilts her head to see you under the kind of.
Was this not the one that I was talking to earlier?
So no, you were speaking with the white one.
I actually meant to go speak to the one. I thought it was the red one. The white one is the one I wanted to speak to. Well, same as earlier. Same conversation. I was gonna be like, "Oh, not you! This one right here." Meant to speak to you.
Seeing you trying to communicate to the red one, though, she makes this kind of hiss sound, and She says very loudly, she's like yelling this, and you can tell because you're hearing it, the crackling in your ear, that you're only able to understand her because of the comprehend languages that's still on you. And she says, "Mischievous half-man, depart so you are not injured. My brothers must attend to their work."
All right, and I'm gonna say obliteration, and then pound my chest a couple times and walk away.
So you head off then. I guess where are you heading to, other than just getting away from them?
Dude, I've got a list, so I will just start heading to try to find a place where I can get that jewel checked out that I found in that mage's pocket. So I'll go do that, and we can jump someone else.
Okay. Then skipping to Arteme, still helping the wounded. And you've been up there it's been about half an hour, by the way. The crowful was great. So it's not very long, but it's been enough time that the Crowblinders are kind of settling into a routine of maintenance and upkeep, and the forge is immediately fired up. You can smell the burning coal of the forge from the smoke and everything coming from it. So it's very clear that they've immediately fallen into the same kind of routine, despite it having just survived the pretty heavy losses of the battle just previous, half an hour previous. But Arteme, there are a flood of soldiers coming in, both Neotau and Crowblinders, from the battle that had just ended, that are wounded. They're being carried in, by the one arm over the other, bringing in the unwounded ones, bringing in the wounded. Two of the mages from the ritual circle, a male and a female, both human, have come in to help, and they're using dental forced healing, the dental rill, the healing rill.
Okay, I'm gonna see if any of those mages can help my avian. I'll go help the people that are a bit less wounded, and I'll also start brewing a few potions for the infantry. I think it was one of the keys. I can't really scroll up at the moment, but.
What do you mean? You can't scroll up. Your mouse broken too?
Sorry. No, it's not. I'm just eating.
Oh.
I'm gonna make some of the.
So just making what? Making what, fuck?
Some red.
Tell me. Red mint tea. Okay. Okay. Are you trying to? Who you making it for?
The healers and I'm gonna get some of the somnolent for the wounded to help.
Okay. Go ahead and give me. I can roll it for you if you want, but we're going to make some alchemy checks here, just for enough doses for you to be able to do that. Do you want me to roll them for you if you're eating still?
Yes, please.
Okay. Natural 20. Maybe I should just roll off.
Exactly. We would get much further, much faster. It'd save us so much time.
I got a 3 right after, so but the other rolls were okay. You managed to brew up enough to kind of give this caffeinated boost to the healers that are here, as well as somnolent to kind of help the rest of the ones that are wounded but not screaming in pain, basically, and kind of ease it as best you can. The mages that have come up are not they're able to use the dental rill, but that's not their specialty. So the male that you speak to, asking to try to help Maidi, he says, Miss, I mean, I'll do what I can, but it's really not, her wounds are beyond my capabilities. I can ease her pain, but I mean, the best we can do is to be perfectly honest, we can hopefully keep her from dying from infection and disease.
That'll have to do until we can get her to heal that pain deal.
Sure. She has been fading in and out of consciousness, and oftentimes when she is between the two, she's only kind of semi-coherent. In fact, the only time you've gotten her to be able to recognize you and be fully aware is while you've had your healing spirit on her, which of course only lasts for a minute. Did you see what I put in your in Discord?
Yeah, and I'm gonna go find Ozzy and Pepperjack a bit later and let them. Hopefully, it'll help get the teleporter back out.
Okay. Both Sarah and Arteme had interactions with the other NPCs that you guys weren't present for, so I gave both of them that part, shortened, interrupted conversation in Discord for the part that they got. Becky, you got yours too, I think, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, the parts. In fact, actually, Justin, when Pogo walked back up to Pepperjack, where Clover and Sarah had been speaking with Pepperjack, and then Pogo was trying to talk to the speaker, and then came back. The part that you missed is the part that I gave her, basically. And then, of course, Arteme is speaking with my Eevee. You guys were present for, so I just gave that to her in Discord. I like the way that works a little bit. It has the automatic downside of you guys automatically remembering everything, of course, because you'll have verbatim word for word, as opposed to potentially forgetting or ruining the game of telephone. But I think it works okay as far as not keeping everybody else out or having to move to a separate channel just for a short time. So, anyways, so you have that much, and you're able to kind of ease the suffering and help the healers as best as possible. Arteme with their
Just kidding.
Did you not realize what that was?
Yeah, I was like, side chat. Oh, it's the audio. Never mind.
Anyways, I saw you pop down. I thought we'd lost Hawks or something. But, so, anyways, you continue to help out as best you can, Arteme, for at least for this initial half hour or so of time. How about Norok and Sarah?
All right. So, quick question. How do you spell that name in there? Is it Caius? Caius?
The Emperor? Yeah, Caius.
Caius.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's the Emperor.
We're still talking to Ozzy, right?
Yeah, Ozzy's still in the room with you. Clover interrupted to tell you that Pepperjack has ordered you guys to be given the Kettle Keep. Which, by the way, the Kettle Keep is the lowercase noun, I guess. It's not a proper noun, meaning you guys can name it however you'd like. It is a Kettle Keep. It's not the Kettle Keep, if that makes sense. You guys can give it your own name. But anyway, Arteme and Pogo don't know about that yet. Just Norok and Sarah were in there when Pogo told you. Let's do it.
I'm going to, out of curiosity, if there's a way to look out a window or look out over the wall, and I want to see if we're still surrounded. And then if so, I want to see what happens when they try to hit the wall for the grow for it, because Norok's kind of curious how it works.
Okay. You are pretty deep inside the first floor of the Crow Fort, but you inside the actual central keep. But you make your exit, leaving out through the front gate, out into the courtyard. Similarly, seeing the giant Amora that has been dissected, being cut into chunks so that they can dispose of it outside the walls. And the nearest stairs are pretty full with the Crow Blinders. You could probably make it past, but you're going to have to kind of push them out of the way. There's just not that much room, and then there are Miotao at the base of the line, so you could probably make your way past them, without them having to stop pushing or throwing chunks from one person to the next. Did I explain that well enough that they're basically in a long line of people and then handing chunks of meat from one person to the next until the chunks are on the top and they're throwing it over?
Yeah, a war chain or whatever, and then...
Yeah.
All right, so I'll go slow, so I'm not in anybody's way. I'm not in a hurry.
The soldiers are obviously dead tired already. Every last Crow Blinder you see, but all of them uniformly, every single one gives you a polite. They're kind of strained while they're grabbing these big chunks of probably 40-50 pounds of meat and handing it to the next up the stairs. But uniformly, every single one is nodding appreciatively, and some saying, thanks for your help back there and all that kind of thing. As you make your way up to the ramparts, as soon as you get to the top, though, the wind is blowing so hard up there that you're almost pushed down. You're strong enough that no check or anything needed, of course, but it's blowing right at the edge of the wall. There's still some that is blasting back into the courtyard, just because it's hitting in the corner of the wall there. But the brunt of this kind of forced breeze is pushing right at the top of the wall there to basically immediately hit the ground right outside at an angle, if that makes sense. And it's coming from this big portal above you that is just blowing this blizzard basically right around the outside of the walls, with the intended effect of keeping the enemy away from the walls. But as soon as you kind of stand up enough to open your eyes, you have to blink away the frost and the snow repeatedly. But you do that, kind of wipe your eyes a couple of times, and looking out over it, you can still see the fort. The Crow Fort is completely surrounded, and where it is, it's not centered on the entire surroundings of Dunskathek, so you can see out a little ways where the walls, the previous walls, the mud ones of Dunskathek are still there, and the Legion has just overrun all of that. They're basically probably 30, 40 feet back from the walls of the Crow Fort, so still surrounding as far as you can see all the way around. It's immediately noticeable to you, no check needed or anything for this, that the Becklights, the humans of the Legion, and the Albashar have fallen back, and most of the ones you can see on the front lines there that are like right being replaced with this blast are the Mortrolis. It's all the dead. But over the walls there, you can see 3 massive corpses. That there's probably, you expect, the 4th is still around the corner where you can't see it, just being blocked by the wall. But the giants are just dead and laying there, and they're just surrounded by the Mortrolis. They're no longer in their organized boxes, the squares that they had been previously. They're kind of just standing in rows all the way around, and then beyond them are the Becklights and the Albashar.
Okay.
But they are on there.
Cool. But they're cold.
Yeah.
By the way, the outside of it, you can see that the frost is. It seems like it's like growing almost in front of your eyes. It has to be an optical illusion because you keep having to wipe the snow away. But the surroundings are just frozen. Like there's snow everywhere, and it had been cold, but not snowy cold. It had just been like rainy and wet, and now the rain can't even make it through this freeze. You're basically standing in cold snow, but you're not getting pelted with water at all. It's just
Okay.
this portal above you is kind of spreading out this like ice field all the way around.
Sweet.
What's there, Dan?
Okay, so if I was still talking to Ozzy, I'd probably be trying to figure out how the hell we're gonna reignite these teleportation circles.
He kind of nods. It's clear that he's like contemplating that it doesn't appear that he hasn't answered just yet of how it can be done. But in response, he says, I don't have the means of doing this. To be honest, we kind of need Maiden's help. Not necessarily for that, but let's just say that, well, I was going to say your commander, but I suppose you don't report directly to him, has been hesitant to assist on that front. But I'll find an answer. To be honest, I haven't had much time to think about it yet.
Actually, can I use Animal Messenger to send what my Yumi told me to Ozzy while I'm still helping? Or like,
Do you have it prepared? Okay.
I'm gonna use it
What
as a
are
third
you-
spell because I don't have a second spell slot.
Okay. You can cast it as a ritual if you take 10 minutes.
Really? It doesn't
A ritual spell.
Oh, okay, I'll do
It
it.
does say it's ritual tagged. I'll fix the tag so that there you go. It's in parentheses now. But it is a ritual spell. So,
Okay, I'll do it that way then.
all right. What are you sending? What kind of a creature? And what's the message? It's up to 25 words.
25? Okay.
Yep.
Looking for Great Serpent Soul. They have some relics.
I think it's 10.
The fangs and eyes confirmed near the others, but no
But no what?
soul.
Okay. And what is the creature you're sending?
Just a little fox that he knows it's from me.
Okay. Pardon me. Oh, something I thought was funny here, Fox. Check this out. So the guy that I buy the art from, the guy that I buy the tokens and all the custom art and everything, when people order those, eventually, if they're let's say bankable, if you can sell those as well. Like I obviously, I'll buy the one that he makes specifically for me, but oftentimes he'll throw those into like a pack and then sell them, right, to other people to just buy a whole pack of them all at once. So if you look at that link that I just dropped in Discord there, when you bring that link up, you'll see it'll say TP 125 Animals 3. You'll see a small box below the main image that has a bunch of animals on it. If you click that and look in the bottom right,
Oh, he added different versions of Psy.
Well, he specifically the ones that I commissioned that he made Psy, for our game here. Those are on there. Like those are the two versions that he made initially. That I remember. I gave you the one with the kind of Okami style head paintings as well.
Yeah.
And then he made a regular fox from it as well. Thought that was kind of cool.
Nice.
So there will be people out there. Presumably, there will be people out there that have Psy's token in their own games, just because if they buy that pack, they could use that if they chose to anyway. So I thought that was kind of cool. Anyway, so you send the messenger off. Then the little fox scurries down the circular staircase, and that's the last you see of it. We'll come. As far as does it tell you if you automatically know if they receive the message?
Let me read it, and also try and see if I can send it to 2 people or just 1.
I think with each casting, it's only the one.
Okay, I'd have to send Psy specifically because it has to be a creature I could see inside, so it'll be Psy.
You can describe it. You don't have to see them. You specify a location which you must have visited and a recipient who matches the general description. So, I mean, you walked through the area previously, so as long as you can find it, but it's fine. Narratively, though, I'll say that you don't automatically know where the message was received, but within this conversation that you're having with Ozzy, Sarah, a very small white fox walks in through the door and just sits at Ozzy's feet. That's as much as you see. While he's still kind of pondering this, he looks down at the fox and he kind of kneels down slowly. He kneels in a way that it's clear that like his knees are hurting, he's a little bit old, but he kneels down and kind of pats the animal on the head, and then they're kind of just staring at each other for a moment, and then the animal walks.
Everything okay? There's just a weird fox that walks in.
He stands
Not
back up.
Psy.
Yeah, as the fox is walking, she does resemble Psy a little bit, but it's clear that it's not her. Just the size is wrong anyway. But you, as the fox is walking away, you stand back up and give me a insight check. It's difficult to read his face, but it is quite clear that the news he got was whatever interaction he must have had based on you kind of intuit that he had some sort of interaction is very bad. He looks far more worried than he did just about the stone or the teleportation circle being non-functional. When you ask that, though, he hesitates. He doesn't look up at you at first. He says, "We're going to need to work a lot faster than I thought. I'm going to need to see the commander. I'll meet up with you later, okay?"
Alright, I'm gonna tell him last I heard Pepperjack went to go see, it was Nadir, right? She's the...
Yeah, the remaining. Yep.
Yeah, so I'll tell him last I heard he was going to see her.
He kind of nods. He says, "Thank you. I'll meet him there then." And he takes his way out of the teleportation chamber. All right, we will bounce back around to Pogo. What is Pogo doing?
All right, so Pogo would like to go see if he could find somewhere in this fort where he could get this jewel checked out, and if maybe like some sort of magical, either one of the mages who also helps people with equipment, something of that nature.
So there is a forge. As far as the identification, you would already know that you would need a mage of some sort.
Sure.
You haven't had I guess you haven't been present while the group has done this identification. You wouldn't necessarily know if they were capable, although they are, but Pogo wouldn't necessarily know. But the mages there are 2 of them remaining that are still standing in the courtyard around the older rock that has this blue cone kind of going up into the sky, which is
Right.
coming out of.
Are they busy doing magic around the Older Rock?
They are, although they don't seem nearly as intense, like focused around it as they had been previously with the Pro Force. Like it seems like they're like doing it with one hand and then eating with the other, that kind of thing.
Got it. I'd like to approach them and say, excuse me, gentlemen. I was with the group that took down one of the giants outside. I don't know if you know me. I'm Pogo. Very important around these parts. Best friends with Pepperjack and all that. And I found this when I was murdering one of the 2 Sirdamen that I killed out there. And I pulled this from its pocket. And I was wondering if you could tell me what this is. And I'll show them the stone that I stole from them.
One of them doesn't. One of them appears to be basically seeing that his colleague is kind of taking care of you. He's not paying attention. And then the other, the one that did kind of you got the attention of, kind of grins at you when you say that you're the best friends of Pepperjack. And he says, "Oh, really? I think I probably know most of our commander's friends, and not many of them are match your description."
Well, he doesn't like to talk about it, but you know, he's a little intimidated by me, so he doesn't bring me up sometimes.
Give me a deception. Well, you know what? Because this is clear that you're just fooling around, you can use a persuasion.
All right.
Nobody would actually believe. Okay.
No one would actually believe that Pepper. No way.
Well, not that he knows Pepperjack better than you do. So.
Hey, just to let everyone know, in real life, something funny that happened yesterday. It was a girlfriend's birthday party, and it was like noon, and I was like, "I'm gonna make you a cake." She's like, "You've never made a cake." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna make you one for the first time today." She's like, "We're supposed to go out at like 5 o'clock." I'm like, "Yeah, I'm gonna make you a cake." And I've seen Nailed It where they do it in like an hour and a half. I'm like, "I'll be fucking fine." And she was like, "There's absolutely no chance you can make me a cake." I made a 2-layered, delicious, half strawberry, half vanilla, cream cheese frosting with strawberries around the edge cake that was decorated with icing for dinner. So I will do things out of spite, Jeremy. You're gonna have to make me. You're gonna force me to persuade and deceive until I'm Pepperjack's boss. Just so you know.
Good luck with that.
The spite cake was delicious. All right. Anyways.
So he just kind of chuckles. Like, it's clear that he doesn't believe you, but he still knows who you are anyways. He doesn't believe you that you're
he knows who I'm with, and he knows we've been working
exactly.
with him.
Yep. It's clear that he recognizes you and everything. It's not that your representation wasn't necessarily an accurate one. But
how about he doesn't hate me?
By the way, you picked that up from the Erdeman from Apotep. That was the torturer, Erdeman.
Sure.
Apotep was his name. I think Arteme had that and did share it at one. So she learned that previously and mentioned it. Anyway, that's where you pulled it from. But when you pull it out, it's a small stone. It's about the size of your palm, and you've got small hands, so it's not huge.
Sure.
But a small kind of smooth stone with a runic symbol that's carved into it, like etched into the stone, and that etched symbol is filled with this kind of ochre reddish pigment. But you pull it out and you show it to him, and he says, "Oh, I mean, I can give you a general idea, but I'd really need to spend a minute with it really to find out for sure. And to be honest, and he kind of looks at his left hand, which is performing the ritual around the Erdeman. He says, I'm a little too busy at the moment to handle that for you. But, I mean, that style is usually a means of empowering your spells. That kind of a stone is the way that us mages would use to make one spell or another a little stronger than it otherwise might.
Out of curiosity, so can you keep using it if it's a spell you might know, or does it like shatter after you've used it too many times, you think?
Well, they're not usually used for storing. I mean, you can usually, though, if you're going to store spells, they're done in a gem of some kind, not just a rock like that. But they don't usually break. I mean, I suppose it could, but most of the time they're kind of just something you keep in a pocket, as long as you have it on your person, they do whatever it is they do.
All right. How much do you think it's worth?
It really depends, how it's enchanted. It could be worth nothing. It could be worth a ton. If you pulled it off, you said you pulled it off of the Erdeman in there, though?
One of the torture guys where we saved all the halflings from, and Maybe. You know Maybe? Saved her from certain death.
I've heard her name. I haven't had the pleasure of meeting her just yet.
Yeah, maybe a mage, maybe just someone who's definitely knew magic, but he was that torturer.
Yeah, odds are good it's going to be a valuable one then.
Ooh, that sounds fun. All right, well, I'll let you get back to your magic and your sandwich.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure my brethren wouldn't mind helping you out if you managed to spot one of them, or if you come across Ozzy. I know he's good at that kind of thing as well.
Do you know if there's anyone here at this camp that is, maybe buys and sells goods? Maybe even not necessarily from a purely strictly legal standpoint. Maybe someone who'd be down to trade for some other items.
He chuckles at you. He says, "I mean, we don't really run, a black market here. This is, the military."
You've never heard any rumors? I could go find an alley, wait at like 11 p.m. for Johnny, who gives me a nickname, and then I go round the corner.
Yeah,
Not a thing.
I'm afraid not. I mean, you're mixed in with soldiers, and most of us tend to be of the more honorable sort.
So boring. And I kind of laugh.
I kind of agree, to be honest, but it is what it is.
All right. Well, I wish him a good day, and I wonder to. Shit. So no one here is probably. In that case, I will walk away to go find. Who has the bag of holding with all my money?
Arteme.
I'm gonna go find Arteme.
That's what you were asking about? You want somebody to offload all your ill-gotten gains on?
Yeah, I feel like I'm gonna need to use my kind of get more battle ready. You guys found me on a boat. I wasn't ready to go fight crime.
That's fair. You're not Batman.
I'm not Batman. I didn't have a belt on, like with all sorts of nifty shark repellent.
Yep. All right, we'll come back to you here in a minute. Back to Arteme then. So about an hour has passed at this point of you, brewing up and helping them as best you can, Fox. The wounded, thankfully, now you're actually so. Through all of this, every time that you've come in to help the healers as best you can, it has never been a reduction in the number of, we'll just call them patients for lack of a better term, but the wounded in the infirmary. It's never been less. It's always been constantly growing, like to the point where you almost have people laying on each other. And there are, missing limbs everywhere. Every third person has, half of a leg is gone or part of the arm, etc. Many of them have head wounds, bandages wrapped around the head that are just soaked in blood and so on. But thankfully, with the assistance of the mages and the first healing, as opposed to just the mundane style of kind of ease pain and bandage as best you can, you're actually seeing people kind of stand back up again after their assistance, and then kind of maybe still hobbling a little bit, but making their way out of the infirmary, so that the number is actually being, despite the flood of new soldiers coming in that are just wounded in this previous battle, you're actually seeing people leave finally. But basically, the infirmary is still just kind of busier, I guess, than you've probably ever seen it previously, because you have extra help now, and then the wounded that have been maybe had some medical proficiency or are there helping out after they've been picked up on their own. What are you doing?
I'm not really sure, because if there's still people coming in, I'd try and help them.
Okay. Yeah, you can keep helping. That's fine. You don't have to do anything else. I just wanted to give you the opportunity to if you wanted. You just still continuing to help out as best you can. You were a little bit tapped on resources, weren't you? You're in preparation mode right now. You can't see it, but if you're using the rest of yours to help out, go right ahead, and you can mark off your spell slots to offer whatever assistance you can. As for Norok, top of the ramparts there. You hear a series of whooshing sounds and turn to look, but down into the courtyard. You're still up on top of the wall. But looking out behind you, you see the dozen dragonflies, each with an armored shell rider, lifting up off of the ground and just blowing a big billowing cloud of snow up around them. Their wings are not, they're not bat wings. They're not leathery or anything, but they're still enough apparently of a force to blow the snow up around them. Causing this kind of a divot in the snow as soon as it's lifted off. But they lift off and they fly straight up over your head, and then head out to the west. As soon as they are over the top of the wall, you can see the riders reaching into those bags with one hand, and then they basically reach in with the left, and then throw it into their right, and then they launch it with their right arm. And each one, they're not igniting anything as far as you can tell, but as you see, every single time they throw one of these out, there is a blast radius, just a booming blast. And it's not fiery. It's not like the one that you saw outside the wall. but this kind of just explosion that's in probably 15 to 20 foot radius around these spheres that are just knocking away. It doesn't seem like it's necessarily hurting them too much, except for kind of making this corridor as they go in a line, and they just keep throwing these out over and over and over again, so that it's kind of a double wide distance of this wide corridor as they're flying low and over this over the Vavians outside.
Did you say that those were just in their bags on the side of their dragonflies?
Yeah, you actually...
Son of a bitch!
You were standing like right next to one of these bags.
Ah!
Yeah.
Why didn't Pogo think about that? All right.
But this is well, you're not seeing this, of course, but Norok
No.
is seeing this is at least two different kinds of munitions that you've seen that these guys have been throwing out. One that was a fiery explosion that just blasted a hole in the side of the Amora that they're cutting to pieces, and the same kind that was used against the giants is a different kind that seems like repelling almost, and kind of blasting the bodies of the Mortrolis away. But they don't necessarily appear even injured as much as just kind of pushed away from, like it's more force than it is fire. But anyways, they're kind of slow, that they're not moving fast. It's almost like they're like hovering in place almost, and then moving a little bit further and further forward with this kind of breeze blowing away the outside of it. You do see from the back, the Mortrolis aren't doing this, but further back, you do see the Backlights kind of landing or arranging themselves in line formation and start firing arrows up at the shell on their dragonflies. But it seems like they're just like the arrows just aren't getting there. They're just being blown away by this constant breeze that is forcing the arrows back. It doesn't seem like they're even concerned about it at all. So they just keep making their way west. What are you doing?
Okay, I'm going to go find something to eat, because obviously by now Norak will be starving. So
Okay.
I'm going to go find some food, and then I'm going to catch up with the team wherever they are. So
You don't know innately where food would be coming from. Give me I guess, how would you tell me how you're trying to track down where food would be, and then I'll tell you what kind of a check to make to see if you can find them.
I guess just kind of walking around, kind of smelling.
Sense
see if I can
of
smell.
Like if it's specific,
That's a dexterity check.
how wide can you open your nostrils?
Yeah.
All right. So speaking of, I meant to share this one already. Let me find it real quick. Here it is. All right. Everybody have that?
Ooh, fancy.
Yeah.
So you were draw the line. You had climbed up the ramparts over here. So that those stairs, that's where you would come up from. But the smell is coming from that building back there. So you go ahead and I mean, you can. It's strong enough that you can place it just from like if that's how you're looking for it. No, you can see smoke coming out of the chimney back there, and that like there's noise coming from it. It's kind of, you can't hear it through the sound here, but as you get closer and closer, you smell it coming from the inside. As soon as you step in. Through the front door, it's like there's warmth coming out from the place. It's that like it's cold enough out here, but as soon as you get close to a warm building, you can instantly feel the warmth from it. But there's revelry. It sounds like a busy tavern or an inn. And then as soon as you step through the door, you're instantly surprised because it's like an opulent, like red carpet. Nice tapestries, like very nice furniture. This is not like this is the kind of inn that you probably have never even seen before, but maybe expect that this is how like rich people. This is like a rich people inn or a rich people tavern kind of a thing. There is live music that's coming from a room far to the back. As soon as you step in through the front door, there's a hotel desk basically on your left. And there's people behind. There's two different people behind it, but they're both just soldiers, and they don't notice you or care that you're walking in. But it looks like an expensive hotel is basically the impression you get. But the smell, kind of, you walk down this hallway and you can smell it coming from the left, and you walk into a large like tavern room, a very big tavern room with a huge like stage style bar that like a big horseshoe style bar, and Rook is behind there. And there, sorry, never mind. Sorry, Rook is not there. The guy who was helping Rook, her assistant, you never got the is back behind the bar. But there are soldiers at every table. All the tables are packed, and it is packed full. Everybody seems like jovial and cheerful somehow, despite having an hour previous just gotten out of a pretty expensive, costly battle. But there's food. It smells great. There's 2 massive fireplaces keeping the place warm, and then a bar with the quartermaster, the quartermaster's assistant, basically behind the table.
All right. I'm going to head up to the bar then and go grab an ale and some food. So I'll ask the bartender if I can get a drink and something to eat. So,
Okay.
the guy, and then I'll be polite and ask his name. So as you're walking up, he kind of sees you, and then there's an instant recognition. He says, "You're Norok, right?" Yeah, and you are? Sorry, I never caught your name yet. And I'll stick my hand out.
I'm Wilson. But I was told if I spotted you that I needed to send you to the back room, and I was told not to go back there. So Rook wants to speak with you. She's back there. I'm not supposed to go back there, so you might need to duck because I don't think it's quite tall enough for you to fit through. But she can be real mean sometimes. So you might want to prepare yourself. She starts throwing pans or something. She didn't look happy.
I'll tell him thank you, and then I'll be right back. So I'll head back there before I
he points
or anything. So
he points to a doorway with a curtain hanging in front of it, like a nice opulent red curtain. In fact, actually, here. I'll just go to share this.
So is Wilson a volleyball?
We got a pretty volleyball-shaped head, sure.
Okay. Wilson.
Anyways, but he kind of points you to the back room. As soon as you step through, there's a smell that you've gotten a little bit used to, maybe, or smelled it a few times. I'll tell you that it feels like it's like the scent is kind of covered in lavender, which is more disgusting than it probably should be. But as soon as you step through, you see Rook there, and she is sitting down with a very oddly clothed Sorsha. And just by the smell, it's instantly aware to you that she's had a bath, and like it's going to take a few more baths to get that smell off of her. But it seems like she's tried. But anyways, Rook looks up at you. She says, "Oh, well, I found your friend here again, and she was just wandering around looking for food. So I fed her. She's not talking much."
Yeah, she ain't able to talk anymore. So, and thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, I kind of gathered that. We fed her, trying to take care of her as best we can. I'm just trying to keep everybody out of this room so that they don't think that she's a spy or something. She seems real nice. How are you talking with her? I mean, you have to communicate somehow.
Just been writing. She can still write. She can't really talk due to all the damage. I don't even know how much of a tongue she has left. So.
Give me an insight check.
Okay.
Hey, natural 20. -1 because you still have your concussion. You get the impression that when you said that she didn't think about her being able to write. You gather, especially since it's a natural 20, you gather that she probably has lost the recognition of these people being human. Only because after all that's happened and all they've been through and everything, they don't necessarily seem like people anymore. And it just dawned on her when you said that oh yeah, if she had been able to read and write before, she still would be able. But anyway, she says, I should have thought of that. We fed her and tried to heal help her as best we can to try to get some of the smell off of her so that maybe she'll be able to blend in a little better. But I got to tell you, these wounds, and she reaches out and grabs Sorsha's arm, and she's still too weak. Like it's clear that she's like bone thin. But she pulls her arm out, and she kind of is gesturing and pointing to the sores around the insides of her elbows. She says, if these things keep like this, she's going to get infected. It's going to get worse. She's going to need to see a healer. If you want to keep her, alive, this is going to be part of it.
Yeah, you're right. Then I'm going to see if I can go find somebody that'll be willing to help her then. So.
I mean, do you want me to take care of her here? I can, at least for now, I can try to keep her hidden. I heard, and maybe if I'm wrong about this, or if you weren't aware, then pardon the surprise, but I heard that the commander was planning on giving you guys the kettle key. Is that right?
Yeah, we were actually we're given that, luckily. So.
I mean, the place is awfully big. You could probably, and pardon me, Mrs. Kind of looks at her, that you could probably, give her a room in the basement or something, and still be able to sleep without, having to cover your mouth or anything.
Yeah, that's true. Should have plenty of space for her now. So, again, thank you.
She can run free through the grass.
Yeah. Give her a dog run. Like
We'll clean up after her. It's not too much of a responsibility.
Out there with doggy bags. Anyway, but so she says, well, I mean, I can, keep an eye on her for a little bit and keep feeding her slowly so she doesn't get sick. But do plan on, getting her to a healer before long.
Yeah, I'm gonna actually go see if I can find one now. So I'll be back soon. Thank you.
She just nods.
Oh, I'm gonna go get some food first, though. Go back to what I was doing, and then I'll go look for a healer.
Okay. All right, then you make your way back out to the main room. Wilson gives you, he had a bowl and what would probably be better described as a bucket than a stein ready for you. A very large. It doesn't have a handle. You're gonna have to fit both hands around it to drink at it. But some food to take care of your hunger. And we will bounce over to what is Arteme up to, or Sarah up to? Sorry.
Okay, is Clover still there?
Yeah, you haven't left the teleportation chamber. She's still in there with you.
Okay, so I would have told her that she's welcome in the keep anytime she wants. She can come check out the fireplace or whatever that she wanted to do. And then I would ask...
She says thanks. I've had a lot of fun nights with different squads, where I've been assigned at the time, playing cards, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it could be fun.
Oh, by the way, the kettle keep is on, if you guys still have the Crowfort map.
Yup.
That red circle, hang on, I'm trying to draw a circle, we're going to keep it up. That's the kettle keep.
The big house.
The big, so this is really tall. This is the central keep, and it's really, really tall. There's obviously, it's much bigger than your guys' kettle keep. But this place is 3 floors with a kind of 4th parapet tower that is a little bit taller. And then this is barracks. So most of the soldiers are just kind of, it's 2 floors and it's cots. And so basically bunk bed style cots that are 3 high. Basically tons and tons of soldiers all in there. And then this is the, it's called the Crow's Nest, but it's basically the tavern area back there. And then the forge and everything, most of that is in the central keep or in one of the towers around the outside. So, anyways.
I'm gonna ask her if she knows where Quill might be.
To be honest, I haven't seen him since the fighting started. I mean, he might be with the commander. He might be in the war room. Oh, I suppose you don't know where the war room is, do you?
Nope, I don't know where anything is.
Well, and she sticks her elbow out. She says, "Let's go. We'll go find him." She sticks her elbow out in the sense of like, you're very little, so it's almost kid-like, like grabbing onto the arm of an adult. She's not that tall, but she's quite a bit taller than you still. But she's, kind of offering to lead you around and give you kind of a throw for it until you find him.
I'll just kind of give her the side eye and take her arm anyways.
All right. I guess at what point did you look at the scroll?
If we don't find Quill in like 30 minutes or so, then I will...
Not that big. You'll almost certainly be able to find it before.
Okay. Well then, as soon as we find him, I will kind of, before I walk up to him, just kind of step away and look at the scroll.
Okay. Then, well, go ahead and give me, just for simplicity's sake, give me a percentage roll, percent dial die.
Maybe. Nope, that's wrong.
Oops, I had for? We went Pogo and then Norok, and then no Pogo and then Arteme, then Norok and then Sarah, right?
Did I ever find Arteme?
Were you going to find Arteme? Is that what you were looking for?
Yeah, whoever has the money.
Oh yeah.
Let me get some of
I
my
forgot
money
that-
back.
Yeah, I was thinking the bag, not Arteme specifically, but yeah, that makes sense. All right. 3. No. 2. 3 and 4. There we go. Okay, yeah, you went roll plenty high. She takes you around the corner, and then down a hallway and into a chamber off to the right. And as soon as the doors open, you see Quill standing there, and he's standing over the same map that had Pepperjack had in his command tent, except it's rolled out on a really expensive style wooden table that's clearly that it's like basically like if you took a redwood and then cut a big slice of it out that is about 4 feet tall, like table height. That's what it looks like. It looks like a chunk of aged wood that is just, probably 8 feet in diameter. And the map is rolled out on it, and he's got it held down in 2 corners with rocks, and he's holding down the other 2 corners with his hands, and he's kind of the map. He says, Lieutenant Clover, what can I do for you? Oh, and Miss Sarah, good to see you again.
Good to see you too. Sorry if I'm interrupting. I just had a couple questions. Whenever you
you're
have some time.
Go right ahead. We're okay for the moment. I'm just trying to figure out how we're going to talk to the Emperor. What's up?
Whenever you get a minute to sit down and have a chat, I'd like to ask you about Lumos and Misetsu and Xanthus.
Bless you.
He tilts his head and squints, and there's a wry smile, like a. Give me an insight check. You get the impression it's like a, is this a person who is, a person who is interested in the same, like, strange, odd hobbies that he might have? Like, he didn't realize that you might be interested in these things as well. Not, of course, knowing your motivations, but you feel like it's like if you asked about some random, weird, obscure, like anime, and you were big into anime or something like that, and that person just lit up at that reason, like his face lights up. That's what it looks like. I said anime because I know Fox is into anime, but
So am I.
Who doesn't love a little sword art online? Am I right?
I don't know. I've tried a couple. I've just never been able to get into any of them.
That one's my favorite, just because it's like I hope in 30 years it's actually a fucking thing.
Okay,
Oh.
you want to be trapped into a game?
Oh yeah, my life's fucking terrible. That'd be awesome.
Maybe you'd have working kidneys in a.
Yeah.
Anyway, but I think Berserk was the name of it. Dude with a giant sword.
That
But
one was
like-
cool, and then it got fucking weird.
I watched, I think, 2 episodes of it. A buddy of mine in high school tried to get me to watch that, and then watched a couple of, like, Ninja Scroll was one of them.
Oh,
I
Ninja Scroll's a
remember that one.
classic.
So I remember
that
that was
one's-
kind of cool, but
That one's also kind of. Is that the one where the girl gets like raped by this weird monster dude?
I don't remember
That Ninja
that.
Scroll?
Maybe. I don't know.
there's-
Honestly, it's so long ago. That was literally 20 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. So, but anyway, but he just like immediately lights up when you've asked this. He says, "What, if I may ask, what kind of brings that kind of curiosity? Those are awfully odd topics."
I'm just wondering about how they, formed their so-called working friendship and what may have torn that apart. Just, interested in some history, and I know you're a historian, so.
Yeah. I mean, it's going to take me a little bit. I'm kind of a little more busy than the amount of time that's going to take to have that conversation with you, but we can certainly sit by the fire and go over some. Well, to be fair, most of it's myth these days. But by the way, you do realize that these are almost. Think of it like the equivalent of the myths around like Jesus. That's literally how long ago. So this was literally 2000, almost 2000, well, a little over 2000 other years ago, that all of that happened. So it isn't necessarily as much in the realm of actual history as much as it is like potentially pseudo history. There are written records and stuff like that. Like it is clear that these people existed and so on. Because, but anyways, it's not. It's there's a word for that. It is to say, not necessarily a guaranteed fact that these things work or exist in the way that they were reported, because history is written by the victor and so on. But anyways, he says, oh, we can certainly, pardon me, and go over some, questions you might have. I would enjoy that very much. Can I meet you at a certain time? Maybe we can go over this in a little while.
Whenever you have time, just come find me at the Kettle Keep.
Looking forward to it.
And then I will step out, and then I'll check the scroll.
As you're stepping out, he says, Lieutenant Clover, if you don't mind, could I have a word, please? As you're stepping out, and she closes the door behind you.
Okay. And then I will check the scroll and write that down, and then when I'm done with that, I'm going to go look for Artemis.
Okay. So both Pogo and Sarah are now looking for Artemis. You all knew that she was heading up to try to help the wounded as much as possible. So that I would say that neither of you need to try. You just kind of know that that's at least where you last saw her. Then we are back around to Pogo. So you make your way up to the it's nearly to basically the top floor of the Crow Fort in the central keep, and you do see Kwando, the handless Red Candle priest, as well as Artemis and a few other, including two of the mages you've seen previously, helping out the wounded. They're still, trickling in wounded. Now as you come in anyways, you see a guy who was clearly just smashed his hand, and you're not sure how that happened, but it seems like it was probably, doing work around the Crow Fort, and he hurt himself rather than in the battle, because it looked like, it would have handled this sooner. But they basically, they're kind of gathering around the healers, are doing all they can. So, what are you doing?
Let's see. I'm just going to walk past the guy who hurt his hand. And are they actively trying to help people? So
Yeah.
they're actively... Okay. I'm just going to make sure they can see me. And the nearest fairly hurt person I can see, I'm going to go ahead and cast Healing Word on them. And I'm going to do it very loud and obviously, so that everyone kind of knows that I'm casting Healing Word, trying to help this person out. And then I'm going to, move my hands, cast a spell, and I'm immediately going to turn to Artemis and be like, oh, by the way, do you have that gold in the bag? I need it. And then also I'm going to pull that rock out and be like, and do you guys know what this does? I'm going to try to kill all the birds with this literal magic stone here. See if I can get this done.
Fox?
I'm just gonna give him like a sideline look and say like, what do you need it?
Well, I was unaware that I'd be battling monsters with you, so I need to see if I can upgrade myself a bit. I don't even... how much... Would we come to an agreement on 50% me, 50% the rest of the party? Since I found the gold and got the gold and all that and things.
Okay, so what are you referring to? The stuff you stole? Because that's not been... That's still, like, jewelry and silver ewers and vases and stuff like that.
Oh, there's no actual gold?
There might have been some,
Pieces.
but it wasn't much at least.
Okay, any gold that Artemis got went to Norok and Seraphina to save Sai's life because I still owe them, so you'd have to barter with Sarah and Norok for gold.
Yeah, Artemis doesn't have any actual gold unless you guys put gold in the bag, which I don't think you guys did. I don't think you put any coinage in the bag, basically, just the...
Okay. In that case, I'm going to need a couple of the trinkets, so I might be able to trade or barter. So, mind if I grab a few of those jewels and things so I can make myself less, chance of death? I mean, they're technically mine. I stole them fair and square from other people who stole them fair and square, so...
There's a bunch of gems and everything in there that you guys found in the pyramid originally.
Well, I'm not going to take those.
no.
I'm just going to take things that I took.
Yeah. There's a ton of stuff that you guys, haven't turned into money that you basically can
It
sell.
doesn't look like the stuff that he still was added in from what I can tell. Because
It is.
It is?
It's listed as half a chest of valuable.
Oh, okay.
It's like halfway down the list.
Yeah, I see it now.
So can we split up half a chest of valuable?
You want a quarter chest of valuable? No, this was. I
that'd be
just
fun.
listed the amount of it, but basically, I mean, you could grab a hand, a handful, fair, but enough stuff and just throw it in your own backpack to try to.
Yeah. I just need something that I might be able to barter with, whatever that would be considered. And then
So-
do the priests. I let them know that I got that off the dead Eardom when that was torching. Maybe if they know what this is, and what I can do
Oh,
with
for
it.
the stone. Okay.
Yeah,
Well, so Arteme, he shows you the stone as well.
all of you.
I probably would know. Sarah would have a better idea if it's arcane. I could do an arcane check on it, but I don't think I'd be able to tell much off.
You can give it a shot. If you're going to spend 1 minute looking it over, you can do an Arcana check to grab the stone and look it over.
Okay.
Hey.
As for the stuff, I'm gonna ask him exactly what he's looking for, because if he's looking for like weapons or something, I don't know if there is anybody to barter with exactly, because they won't really need goods and everybody needs their own weapons and stuff. And
I have it. I feel like in this giant fort with all of these people, someone here might want to trade something that they have that I might have use for. So it might be maybe a couple of those bombs that they were throwing off the back of those dragonflies, or maybe I'll get some nice food and cook you all a nice dinner tonight. Maybe a cask of ale that we can share back at the fort. Perhaps some poison or some healing potions.
poison, really.
You don't want poison? You know how great poison would have been a year ago, back when I was... Never mind. Anyways. If you don't think poison, or maybe some acid, or maybe some like sharp tacks we can throw underneath one of those monster things, like one of those big dinosaurs we were fighting. I don't know, just something. I don't know why I have to argue with this. I'll let you pull it out. You can get it out of the bag. I'm not going to go reaching around in a woman's purse. I'm not rude.
I would trust Sarah to do better bartering than Coco at the moment.
Really?
No offense.
Well, I'm not going to need to... Come on! She can get some too and go do some bartering. It's not like we only need one person to go barter and buy things. Is there anything you want? Tell you what, if there's something you want, I'll look for that too.
I've been trying to find to get better set of armor.
Alright, I'll take a look for you while I'm on my look around.
If you're looking for weapons, you could always get a weapon made out of animal bones. That would work well. Instead of a steel weapon, it would probably be better for you being small.
Sure. Do you think they can make that in the forge? I don't know how to make things like that.
Most likely, so it'd be just a basic mission to do it.
Well, that's probably not going to be free. Or at least not to get him to do it quickly.
Arteme, have you handed him, some of the stuff, some of his stolen silver, pieces, the things that he stole from the ship?
Or some of the jewelry? Jewelry might be easier, smaller.
You still have the, you found a silver necklace as well.
Aye.
You stuffed in a pocket, so you have that.
Still got that.
Yeah, so we'll say that half of the amount, just because as far as carrying it, you took multiple trips, remember, the last time? Of it all stuffed in your clothes. This time you have your bag on you, so you can kind of throw about half of the stuff you'd taken previously inside the bag, as well as, some jewelry and so on. Some items you think you could probably fetch a good price for.
Sure.
Arteme, you were reaching... I'll put it to you this way. When you reach into your own bag for something while you're helping out the healers there, something sticks to your hand and it immediately, like it feels like it bit. And it's not enough to, hurt necessarily. Well, not enough to lose any hit points, but it definitely hurt. And you yank your hand free of the bag and try to flick it off like a bug bite almost. And you look at the back of your hand, and stuck to the back of your right hand is a gold coin.
The hell?
God, I forgot about those coins. The
Well,
ones that Sarah tried to give the old woman as payment for.
You reach over and grab it and go to peel the, pull it off because it's like stuck to it like glue. And when you peel it away, you can see these like tiny little hooked teeth around the outside edge of it, like basically a ring around the outside of the coin. And as soon as you pull it away, like it's bleeding a little bit, but you have this like circular bite wound on the back of your hand where you pull the coin away. And as soon as you pulled it away, the teeth are like jabbing in and out, like they're trying to hook onto something. You're holding it by the outer edge, so it can't get you. But you see, the teeth of this coin are trying to bite you still.
Okay, well, I'm just gonna talk to the coin and tell it I'll find you some goods later. Can you relax for now?
I'm just gonna talk to the coin. Okay.
Pogo's just gonna look at you like, the hell is happening with this woman now? Oh, she's lost her mind. That's
You
sad.
were there. You
It's
were
called
there.
post-traumatic stress disorder.
Yeah, Pogo at least was aware that she had these.
I don't think he was.
Yeah, you definitely were. When you guys shit, actually. No. Yeah, Justin, you were in the game. You were listening in, but you hadn't shown up. This was
I heard it, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah. Okay. So you peel the coin off, tell it you're gonna feed it later, and then back.
That was back when I thought this was gonna be less of a serious adventure. Oh, they're just trying to sell fake coins that can eat people. This is hilarious. And I start fighting fucking ocean monsters.
Yeah, being picked up by giant tentacles and thrown onto the deck.
Pogo just wants to try to have an option to steal from a nice old lady at least one time.
Depending on
Anyways.
what you guys decide, you have a lot more branching options. Let's say,
Right.
You guys kind of. That was the end. By the way, the last session was the end of the first major arc, the Chain of Dogs.
Oh.
We're kind of starting a new arc here, and it's kind of going to be up to you guys where you want to go and what you want to do. So I don't have a title for this arc yet because I don't really know what you guys are intending to do. But anyways, we'll get to that in a bit. But Arteme has handed over a bunch of the goods. Arteme, with that Arcana check, with you kind of spending a minute looking at this stone, still kind of nursing the bite wound on the back of your hand, you gather that this stone has a certain necrotic energy coming from it. It's definitely enchanted for sure, and it's the enchantment is necrotic in nature.
So,
I'll let him know to be careful and to try and take it to Ozzy to see if he could help with it because he probably know more. My AD might know more, but she's out of it. There's no way we're gonna get much out of her. Sadly.
She's actually foaming at the mouth a little bit now too. She's unconscious and yeah.
all right. Well, tell you what. I'm gonna see if I can find you some better armor. Anything I need to know? You don't like wearing metal, right?
Definitely no metal. Leather
Alright, so-
or hide would be better, and I'm looking for more of like a medium.
Oh, a medium armor. Stepping it up a little bit. I like it. I like a woman who can support herself. A nice, strong young lady. All right.
Can you ever make it not awkward?
No, that's pretty much. Wait till you hear the song I've got lined up. I'm pretty excited about that one. Anyways, all right. Well,
And Arteme did mention Sarah too, that Sarah might be able to
right.
do a
Yeah,
better job.
Sarah or Ozzy.
So I'm gonna take this. I still don't know that we have a place to stay yet.
You don't. But
So-
while you guys are having this conversation, and Arteme is looking over the stone, and it just told you that maybe check with Sarah or Ozzy. Sure enough, Sarah comes walking up the stairs into this kind of open air area. It's got windows, but like very bright and well lit. Of this almost this entire floor of the infirmary here. What are you doing, Sarah?
So I'm gonna walk up to him and just be like, "So we got to keep, guys."
We gotta keep what?
No, I mean we got a keep. Like Pepperjack gave us a keep, so we have a place to stay.
Oh, we got our own house?
Yeah, at least for now.
Fantastic. By the way, do you know what this rock does?
It shows you a smooth stone with a chunk taken out of it, where it's been carved into and then filled with this silver pigment.
Sure. Give me. How long does this take? 11 minutes.
All right. Well, tell you
You
what.
do instantly recognize the runic sigil that's on it is blood, by the way.
Alright. And then I guess I'll go find a quiet corner just kind of out of the way and I'll identify.
You're the best. Hey, I'm gonna be going shopping here in a minute, seeing if I can find some stuff. Medium armor for Arteme, and I'm gonna see if I can find myself something that'll help me out. Do you need anything while I'm for this 11 minutes that I'm looking around?
When you say I'm gonna go shopping, Kwon Do, who is nearby, looks over at you and he says, "If you're just heading out, I mean, do you mind stopping by like the Orange Julie and bringing you back something?"
Yes. No, I'm gonna grab you an Orange Julius medium armor, not metal.
Where are
And
you
I'm gonna
planning on doing
point at
this?
Serafina.
We don't exactly have a lot of malls or anything here. It doesn't seem like to me.
I'm gonna go to the forge, and I'm gonna see if I can figure it out.
Well,
I'm
good
still
luck.
jacked from this fucking battle. Like, I just fucking.
It's only
I just
been like an
knocked
hour
that
and a half.
giant on its fucking head. I'm feeling lit. I'm running it all cylinders right now. Fantastic.
He just chuckles and goes back to what he was doing. He was just kidding.
Well, if you're going to the forge, I have an idea of something I want to do later. So will you just grab one short bow arrow for me?
Just an arrow?
Just one.
Arrows
One
are
arrow.
better with the
I feel like I might have an arrow. Do I? Oh, I don't
you
have
need
an arrow.
I have some.
No, I'm going to use one of yours, and I want to replace it because I don't know if I'm going to accidentally destroy it.
Oh, it's like a just in case. What a sweet, compassionate friend.
Artema, you do notice that your quiver's about a quarter empty, anyways.
Arteme,
Yeah,
do you want me to
I'm
grab you
probably
some
gonna
more arrows?
I'll give Sarah a couple arrows, and I'm gonna make some more later because I know how to make them. I just need to go hunting to get some of the stuff.
I don't know if that's an
They're
option right now,
professional.
though, is it?
There are professional fletchers in the keep. It's not a charge or anything. They just give it to you. So you can get professionally made ones as opposed to. Not that you can't make good
See,
ones.
here's the thing, though. If I go find them and give them a little cash, do you think I can get some better arrows?
It's hard to make them better without like you can get mastercrafted arrows, but it's the thing is like almost nobody spends, especially not in a war camp, spends the amount of time that it would take to do that only because they're kind of easy to break. So you end up having to chase them down or lose them or whatever anyway. So I mean, people do make them; they're just not common and probably not in a wartime.
Alright, so get some arrows. I'll grab you some arrows if you want to keep taking care of them. I'll be at a bit of a gopher right now. Go take care of some of the needs.
You're leaving your stone with Sarah?
Oh yeah, she can hold on to it. I don't think anyone's going anywhere. We're surrounded by a bunch of dead fucking guys, so I feel good, I feel relaxed. I'm gonna go ahead and go take my mission to the forge and see what I can figure out over there.
Then we will come back to you in just a minute here. What is Nork up to? You just finished your meal in the Crow's Nest, which is what you've heard them, or Crow's Rest rather, what you've heard them call the inn that you're in. No, it is the Crow's Nest. Sorry, the kind of extravagant inn tavern that they've spent a lot of time building up. Everybody seems like it doesn't. The atmosphere of the place does not feel like just post heavy battle. This seems jovial almost. What are you doing?
I am going to go see if I can locate Kwando and then ask him if he or any other healers would be able to or be willing to help Sorsha. So, but I'm going to start with Kwando because he seems nice, so maybe I can trust him and he won't fucking freak out when I tell him I got a Albashar on board. So I'm going to start with him.
You, as you're making your way back into the Central Keep, and then, been in the Central Keep, but not up there, you just kind of have gathered this is where they're at. Somebody in the Crow's Nest told you where to find the infirmary. You make your way up these kind of spiraling circular staircase, which is extremely uncomfortable and awkward for you because there is barely enough head clearance for it's a very tight spiral, and you're almost too tall because your head is touching the stairs above you. Does that make sense? The bottom of the stairs above you.
Yeah.
So you kind of have to slowly, carefully make your way up there, and in this kind of meandering, plodding pathway up the stairs, you nearly step into Pogo coming down the stairs.
Hey, big guy.
Hey,
How are you? Did you hear that we have our own keep? I guess it's like our own little building with rooms and such, like our own house.
Better than sleeping in that tent in the mud.
I'm excited. It's gonna feel like a mansion to me, being as small as I am. I mean, for you, you're probably still gonna have fucking issues, but the Lord giveth and the Lord make giant fucking people like you. So that's just how the cookies crumble. By the way,
Alright.
I'm going to the forge. Do you need anything? I know you already have some pretty cool stuff going on, so...
No, I'm good, but they know what they're doing, so they can probably help you.
All right. And then, no, that's... Anything else new on your side?
Nope, I'm just off. Gotta go talk to Kwando. So.
I think he's over with the ladies down taking care of people.
Oh, all right. Thank you. Then I'll
Hey, do you know if there's an Orange Julius around here?
Yeah, it's over by Macy's.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
I'm gonna go get myself a suit and an Orange Julius and a Wetzel's Pretzels.
I heard a salmonella outbreak from Orange Julius.
Oh, is there?
All right, so you.
Well, there's my poison.
There you go. You make your way up the rest of the stairs, finding Arteme, Kwando in the kind of main chamber of the infirmary. Off to one corner, you see Sarah is kneeling on the floor, holding. She's holding a small rock in one hand, and she's passing. She's holding like a. You've seen it before, but the little glass bauble. She's holding this glass bauble against this rock, and then passing this quill, like this feather, over top of it. You've seen her do this before. It might have been a while though. What are you doing?
Cool. I'm going to say hi to the ladies and then go over and talk to Kwando to see if I can, get him out of earshot of anybody else except for the ladies, or caught the fine, of course. But see if he wouldn't mind going over and talking to me real quick. So.
He kind of tilts his head and looks up at you. He's been hunched over for a long time, and you can immediately recognize that his neck and his shoulders are super tense because he's been hunched over like at people laying on the floor essentially for days, and might be sore for that reason. But he kind of instead of turning his head, he almost like turns his shoulders to look up at you. He says, "Oh, Norok, wasn't it? Norok, right?"
Yeah.
Yeah. But still, my condolences for your departed friend.
I appreciate that. I know you guys did what you could. So. I actually had a favor to ask of you, if you don't mind. Somebody I can trust. So, I actually just need healing services, but it's for somebody that might not expect. It's actually one of the Albashar that was out on the other side. So, but don't worry, she's not. She's coming to her senses. She's not doesn't have bloodlust anymore. So, but she has a really bad infection, and she isn't going to live without some healing that I'm obviously not capable of. So.
He nods, and you, without, this is below the passive. It's clear there's pity, but not in the negative connotation of the word, but like a piteous kind of a look across his face, like passion, I guess is how you'd really describe it. He says, I mean, I'll certainly do what I can without, and he looks down at his wrists. He says, without these, I mean, I'm pretty limited. You might be better suited with one of the mages there, but they probably won't treat too kindly someone of the enemy. So, I mean, it's up to you. I'll certainly do what I can, but I may be limited. Otherwise, you may need to ask them, and they a little dissatisfied that you brought an Albashar behind our walls.
Yeah, true. So I wanted to start with you. See if you can give me a hand.
Certainly. Give me a few more minutes to wrap up what I can here, and I'll see what I can do to help.
Yeah, thank you.
By this time, Sarah, you would have finished it. Was it 11 minutes? Is the 1 minute cast time normally?
It just says 11 minutes on here.
I think I updated that because you can only cast it as a ritual, because that's how Ozzy taught it to you. Yeah, that's because it's normally 1 minute, I think, so it's 11 minutes for the ritual. All right, so you finish the casting on this. The information you can gather from it, and I'm going to give you the item, and you can pass it back to.
That was so close.
A natural 1, or is it 1 or 2?
1 or 2.
On a D20? I thought it was on a D10 or something, wasn't it?
It's a D20.
Like a 10% chance? Okay.
I think it's a D20.
Yep, at the end of the ritual, a D20 on a 1 or 2, the glass bauble shatters, and he just barely dodged it. That's your closest you've been. That's about as close as you can be, I suppose. But all right, let me find it again right here. There it is. This like I described, a simple smooth stone engraved with this arcane rune. Gather the. Well, you know what? Actually, I'm just going to give it to you and describe it to Fogo. I'm going to give you the page for it, so you can describe it to Fogo as you go choose.
Okay.
There you go. Did you get the pop-up?
No, there's nothing on it. It just says smooth stone with an engraved red ruin.
Okay, up there. Is it identifying now?
Yeah.
Okay. There you go. All right, so you are finishing that. Pogo heading down, Arteme and Nora still up there. Okay. Pogo, you make your way down and kind of follow the sound of clanging metal until you find what is clearly the forge. You can tell from quite far away just from the amount of heat coming from the place and the sounds of bellows. But as soon as you step inside, you see there are two very large, very old and very scarred Neotau that appear to be running the place, and there are other crowblinders around that are like repairing their own gear, it seems like, but these two seem to be the only two that are kind of running this forge, it seems like. One is completely black, and both of his horns are shorn down, like they're cut in half, so that he can tilt his head down, you gather. And the other is black with white speckles all across his nose.
All right. Hello, gentlemen.
There's just a snort.
All right, me and some of my compatriots who have been helping these crowblinders have a few questions for you. I was wondering if you have the ability to make either have or make some medium armor nicely fitted for a slender elven woman.
The one with the white spots kind of snorts again and looks at you, like squinting a little bit. He says, "You don't look like a slender elven woman."
No, but they've sent me here to just I'm being a gopher today. We just took out one of those giants. They're busy helping some of the wounded, so I figured I'd take care of their needs. You know, taking care of the woman's needs. That's pretty much what I do.
He says, "I mean, yeah, we probably can, but we'll need. I mean, I'm going to need to see her. She's not, she's not your, let's say, slight dimensions, right? She's a little taller than you, I imagine."
She's a bit taller than me. Can I describe her pretty well to the Neotau so I don't have to make another trip? Can I use...
Yeah.
What would that...
Okay, I'll say that you... Go ahead, yeah, give me a... probably just a flat intelligence check, because I don't think it's... Maybe medicine, but I don't think it's... Oh, you know what? You get... because of Jack of all trades, you might use medicine. You know, it's half your position.
Alright. Or memory? How about memory?
Well, memory, you wouldn't have any proficiency. It'd be the same anyways. So, just
for some reason, it's wisdom. Yeah, memory is intelligence
instead of intelligence. Yeah, but I'm thinking anatomy, which would be a
13.
You feel pretty competent that you've or confident rather that you've described her confidently. He says, "I mean, I'll still tell you what. I mean, it's gonna it'll be expensive, but I can get started, between my other work here. But
now that medium armor is that because she doesn't like anything metal, so it'd be either thick hide or possibly bone armor for her."
He's taken aback. Like clearly he doesn't understand why you would bother. He says, "I mean, I don't understand. What's the point then if it's not going to be made of metal? I mean."
Well, she's one of those druids. She's very close to the earth, and metal just doesn't really work for her physically. And plus, she's a faint little thing. She needs to be able to move and perform her abilities without any heavier items getting in the way. So thick, nice hide, a fine hide would probably work better. Or if you can make it out of maybe the carapace of one of these downed flying creatures, even something that's more natural that'll provide great protection.
What you're describing, maybe some kind of like scale, maybe. But...
Can I pull out so some of the some of the items that I got from the whatever I got out of the pulling out of the bag of holding.
Yeah.
Some of the treasures, like maybe a small handful of it. Be like, would this help in getting this? I mean, we are working for the cause, and then I'd also like to tell them that we were working with what's his name?
Nikos?
I was gonna say the other guy who was taking care of the kids.
Yeah, Nikos.
Nikos?
Yeah, Nikos.
So we were working with Nikos and we were helping him out. I don't know if you know him.
He kind of interrupts you halfway through. He says, "I know who you are, Pogo."
All right. See? You want to
not-
help me.
The materials are really a concern, but I don't know what you're describing. I don't know why you'd even bother. I mean, if you're gonna wear armor, why not wear something that's gonna protect you better? But I don't know if she's insists that this is what she's looking for.
She
I'm still gonna need to see her
insists.
so that I can get proper dimensions and everything.
All right.
And he kind of chuckles, and then he says, "But I mean, I can make really just about anything. I mean, I can try to make some hide or make something scale. I mean, it'd probably be a little noisy scale. It might jingle a little bit. It's just trying to be sneaky or something.
And that wouldn't be metal though. That would just be something non-metal.
Depends on what I can find.
Tell you what, I'll go
that
talk
thing
to
up
him,
there-
bring her back here. We'll be back in a bit, and I'm sure we'll figure this out. But in the meantime, I also need 4 daggers.
He just points to a bucket. Just go ahead.
All right.
I mean, they're for everybody anyways. It's there's not.
Sure.
We don't really have a shop set up here. This is kind of.
Is there
more-
anything for me that you could think that might help me? And I'm just kind of gonna be like, I can only wear light armor, and I'm a very small frame person. But can you increase anything that I'm wearing right now for the right price?
How are you with a shield? You know how to use a shield?
I do not know how to use a shield. No one could teach me how to use a shield.
You don't real. I mean, maybe, but it would take more time than I've got. I mean, you don't look real stout. I don't know if I could put you in, anything much heavier than what you're already wearing as far as it goes. I mean, are you good with a sword? Like, if I make you a small sword, you good with that? Like, is that something
I'm gonna pull out my rapier and show him what I've been working with. I've been pretty good with this. Anything can you make this finer, or can you make this better, or make me a new one?
Yeah, I mean, I could make you a better one. To be honest, this is fine. This is functional, of course. I can make you one a little better than this. Probably wouldn't be. To be honest, I mean, it's kind of sticking with the pointy end. There isn't that much complex about it, but I mean, it'd be a little better, but it'd be awfully expensive. It's gonna take
How
time
much would that
to-
be?
I don't know if you have. You're looking for, a proper masterwork of a rapier. That's gonna run you a good bit. Let me think. And he's kind of looking over. It looks like he's looking over at the wall where you see a bunch of ingots, like metal ingots. That is around 100 gold or so worth.
100 gold. All right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how you are on coinage. You probably couldn't fit all that in your pockets. You're awfully little there, but you got something that we could trade for. That'd be fine.
All right. Well, let me go grab the little lady over here and see if we can get her armor worked out in the meantime. And I'm gonna go back and tell Arteme and see if she can join me back there so we can get a fit for her. Oh, and I'm gonna grab some arrows too on the way out. Just a fuckload, like 20 arrows.
He says, "Yeah, bucket right over there." And there's a barrel actually.
And I'm gonna put the daggers in my backpack.
Okay. He says, as before you go, I mean, you maybe want some snowshoes or something? You might go sinking right into that bluff we got coming.
Maybe. Sure. Why not?
That might be handy. I'll tell you what. I'll work together.
I imagine the snowshoes on the Pogo would be they'd be like baby booties. They're just gonna toss at me compared to these fucking things.
He says, "Well, I mean, if you're gonna be walking around through here, it doesn't sound like this blizzard's gonna let up anytime soon. So I'll see what I can do. Maybe I'll throw a set together for you."
All right. I'll be back.
Then you head back to the keep and go back to Arteme again. As soon as you step out into the courtyard, though, you see there's a stone like a block. There's like it's like a 4 foot tall, 4.5 maybe 5 feet tall stone dais. It's not very wide, but it's basically got stairs that come around the outside like this big pillar, basically. That you basically walk up the stairs, and then when standing on that, you'd be above kind of the rest of the courtyard, right? Looks basically like a well that's been filled in, kind of. It's in the middle of the courtyard there. And Pepperjack is standing on top of that. And he looks very beleaguered, very tired, and he's shouting to everyone around. He says, everyone, your attention, please. Everybody just gather all the crow blinders, get everyone here, 5 minutes.
Oh, crap. So then I'm going to go and tell Arteme and everyone that's not immediately needed there that Pepperjack wants us in the by that thing.
Okay. But you make your way back up to the infirmary. Norok is there with waiting for Kwando. Sarah has just finished looking over your stone, and basically, it's up to you, Sarah. What are you doing? Are you asking Sarah for your stone back?
No, well, I mean, I'd ask her what she learned about it.
Alright, well, this is going to be very useful, and I will hand it back to him. So, once you attune to this, you will, if you use a spell of first level or lower to cause damage, you will get half of the damage done back, essentially. It's called a Lithic of Life Saving.
Well, that's probably what that fucking guy did to the back of my head.
It only works once per round, and you can give the stone to someone else, and they can receive the hit points even though you're attuned to it.
Oh, fantastic. All right, well, let's hope this thing comes in handy. And,
Has to be first level or lower.
no, that's still fine. I just got myself I just learned a nice new low-level spell that'll be very helpful with this. And I think what I'm going to do after hearing that, do you know, do I have to hold it, or does it just work me being in possession of it?
It doesn't say on here.
Sarah, you realize that you could just be in your pocket as long as it's basically on your person. It'll be fine, but you do have to be attuned to it.
Sure.
Now, specifically, how this works is whoever is attuned to it is the person that, when the spell's cast, that's where the numbers are coming from. Whoever's holding the stone is the one that receives the hit points back from the damage done. So Pogo,
Fantastic.
if you attuned to it and you casted, say, Vicious Mockery, but you handed the stone to Norok would receive the hit points.
That's quite helpful.
And you can hand the you don't
Does
have
anyone
to
here-
it again to hand it around. You can hand it around to anybody, and you're still the one attuned to it. It'll still work.
Right. Anyone here have magic missile?
Nope.
Nope. Because that would have been a real good one to use with this thing. Never misses, always life. All right. Well, this is fantastic. Thank you. And then I'd give her an arrow, and then I'd give the other arrows to
Arteme?
Serafina or Arteme. So one arrow to Sarah, the rest of the arrows to Arteme, and I would inform Arteme that well, they can make you some medium armor. They are really pushing back against the no metal thing. I tried to do my best, and I seem to have convinced them. But they need to see you to know what size you'd be, so to make sure it'll fit you nice and well. But he seems pretty confident in his abilities.
Fox?
Oh, okay. I guess I'll go see him for.
Well, we've got to meet up here in like 5 minutes, and then we can go see him afterwards, would be my assumption. Or, I mean, Pepperjack seems very needy right now about us listening to him.
Yeah, the commander is needy right
You
now.
know Pepperjack just wow.
You can refill your quiver though. What's that?
Since we
Thank-
have 5 minutes, I'm gonna see if Arteme will step outside with me real quick, and we can find a place like away from people, or as much away from people as we can.
There is a balcony off of the. Basically, you're at the top of this tower, not on the roof, but basically, imagine like a hotel roof where there's like a building at the top of the stairs. That's kind of what this whole floor is. You can step outside and be. Well, in fact, actually, here on the map, if you still have the map up, all of that area, that whole kind of outside area, you can see where the line is.
Which
Anybody still have that crow fort up? The crow
I
fort.
have the first floor, but not the.
I just reshared it again.
Oh, okay.
So that map there, where I put the red line, you can see the red line.
Yeah.
It goes all the way around, and that's basically your you know, you can immediately see it. You're the tallest place on the crow fort, unless you climbed up on the roof of this small kind of area. But that area is what's being used as the infirmary. That building.
Right. That's
So, anyways, you step outside. There are people out there, but you can probably get far enough away to get yourself a private spot.
That's fine. So I'm gonna hand her the one arrow. I'm gonna tell her to give me a minute, and then I want her to shoot me.
Whoa, wait. I understand we've seen some shit, but this is really not necessary.
Well, you guys step away from Pogo, or did you take Pogo with you?
I mean, it's fine if he follows. I don't care.
I mean, I would follow. I'm gonna go with the group. I don't want to hang out with all the dying people.
Norak, you going outside as well? You're all back together, so is Norak going outside too?
Yeah, I probably would have went with him while I'm waiting for Quan to.
I want like a 10-foot distance between me and Arteme, so she's got a nice clear line of shot.
Okay.
But no, I want to test out a new enhanced mage armor, so
Oh!
to shoot me.
Thank you for telling us that first.
It's like, I've had enough of this. Just put me out of my misery.
In that case, can I do it?
No, because I don't trust that you won't try something funny.
Oh, well, that's fair.
Is there an arrow that like makes clothes disappear or something? I don't understand.
No, I just don't want him to like cast a spell at me and it not be what I think it's going to be.
Got it. Okay. Let's see then. You still have the previous mage armor up, so you have to drop that first.
Yeah, so I dropped that and
Okay.
cast one.
All right. You cast that before she held
Yes.
the fire, I assume, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I
I
want to.
assume so, but I wanted to double check. Okay. Okay. You, as you speak the incantation that Corn's Antilus had described for you, you feel your entire body begin to fade slightly, almost like that half corporeal feeling that's still in your kind of semi missing and semi there right arm, but it just encompasses your entire form. Looking down, you see that where the mage armor spell would normally give you this kind of slight shimmer of this arcana energy over your skin and your clothing, instead you have faded into this almost kind of purple shaded skin that covers all of you. Like there's like where your skin and your clothes are like half translucent and semi purple. Anybody, you guys that are watching, you see Sarah fade away until she's just like half translucent. You can see the stuff behind her barely, but she's surrounded in this kind of dim purplish shadow, except for two glowing eyes. Sarah, you realize that the incantation, as you finished it, it seemed to be effortless for you, like costing you practically no energy at all to perform. But similarly, you feel like you could probably empower this temporary form in other ways if you chose to expend some energy in the process. Here is the spell for you. I didn't want to put it on your sheet already because I didn't want you to have the info ahead of time. So in case you chose not to update that one. There you go. It's under your cantrips now. Oh, shit. I didn't put that. That doesn't have the details, does it? Yeah, it does. Click the info button. It's there. I have to put the effects in there for you, so the effects aren't there yet. I'll take care of that part. But if you click on the details, the info button, it'll tell you all about it.
You know what's funny about this rock? Pogo, like, never really gets too hurt. Like, he's never... I don't think he hasn't died yet, or hasn't gone unconscious yet.
The rock wasn't, like... Okay, so without revealing how the sausage is made too much, the rock wasn't intended for anybody in particular. It's just the kind of magic item that...
Oh, yeah. I was even... Honestly, too, as I was looking through this, since it works on level 1 or lower, if I hadn't changed my spells, I probably would have given it to one of the other people.
Well, yeah, like when you initially picked it up, I was like, well, I mean, I guess Vicious Mockery maybe was like the only thing you had. That
I didn't have many, but Guiding Bolt, I got it because I was like, yeah, well, that thing's fucking...
Yeah, and it's level 1. Throw it out.
Level 1 spell.
A lot of times now, yeah.
So even with it, I was like, that's why I asked if anyone had Magic Missile, because then they would definitively get stuff back. But that's cool. Cool.
No, there could... well, I don't want to, just do what you guys do with it, what your characters would, if Pogo would choose to hang on to it. But there are probably better options as far as who could get the most bang for their buck out. But again, play to the characters, not to... Oh,
yeah. I might give it away, but so far, people are being kind of mean to Pogo. No one trusts her or anything. I mean, it's fine.
You literally have just said, I'm looking around trying to find some way to steal from an old lady.
Oh, yeah.
Anyways, so, Becky, need time with that?
That is awesome. That is absolutely fantastic. But yeah, either way, I'd have her shoot an arrow at me anyways, because I wanted to see what it would do. So.
Okay. Then are you... Is
there Pogo, seeing that she's like half invisible, I'm just gonna be like, is there like a chance that the arrow's gonna go right through her? Like, should someone block the area
Are you
behind you.
saying that loud?
Maybe, yeah. Like, I'm just like, maybe you
don't
should
wanna
stand
get, like,
against
one
a
of the
wall.
protesters stating nearby?
Put like, make sure your back's against a wall, so if we miss, it doesn't murder somebody.
Okay.
That's fine. And actually, how many points do I have left? I only have 1. So, does anybody have any necrotic, radiant, or thunder damage they want to throw at me?
Ooh,
Instead
mine's
of
gonna make too much sounds. I do not. Not unless we feel like making a sound that's gonna piss everyone off around here.
Probably not the best pick.
When she speaks, by the way, it is gravelly and like probably pee a little. Like it's does not sound like her. This is the first she's spoken since.
What did you say? Did you say pee a little?
Yeah, like it's scary.
Oh, okay.
What did you think I said? I'm
I-
like, what could that
I
possibly?
thought the way you
like?
said it is that I thought you were like, her voice sounds gravelly, and she pees a little. I'm like, what? What a weird spell.
So
Get
no,
+2 to AC, and you pee a little every time.
It's booming and sounds malevolent. It sounds like a malevolent spirit, and coupled with her form is certainly a very imposing and somewhat terrifying interaction. Surprising a little bit because although you saw her form change, you've seen spells have similar effects. You didn't necessarily expect the kind of automatic terrifying visage that she's now embodying.
Still would.
But Sarah, so I mean, you do recognize though that being shot at, if it hits you, unless you kind of do that empowering thing that's described in there, it's still going to hurt.
That's what I was gonna try.
Okay.
That's why I was looking, because I only have 1 sorcery point left.
Yeah.
So.
I can like throw a dagger at you.
Yeah, but I can't use my thing for that.
All right, so shoot her with an arrow, and then he starts clapping like, "This is gonna be interesting."
Well, I can't use it for the arrow either. It's
Oh, wait,
gotta be
so-
either necrotic, radiant, or thunder.
I have thunder damage, but it's gonna make a hell of a noise. Let me take a look here.
There are like boxes and crates and everything around too, and you're going to rattle all that shit off.
Yeah.
Assuming you mean thunder wave.
No, I was gonna use guiding bolt actually.
Oh, is that radiant? That's radiant, isn't it?
It's radiant. Yeah, that should work. All right. So yeah, I'll cast. Are you sure this can do a decent amount of damage?
Go for it. And then,
All right.
as my reaction, I'll use the sorcery point.
Oh wait.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I've got one more first level spell slot. All right. So let
Time
me
for
just roll 4d6.
well, when you click guiding bolt, see the magnifying glass to the right of it.
Yeah.
And target Sarah.
Well, I'm actually targeting her.
Well, I mean, if you're going to hit her with it, yeah.
I don't know how to do this without my battle tracker thing open.
Bring up your combat tracker.
Oh wait, I gotta actually cast it.
Oh,
Well,
there
I
we
didn't
go.
see the effect on you
Nothing
yet.
for
But you're
Okay, target
if you're not
Serafina.
trying to move, if you're letting him hit you, then it's gonna be an automatic hit. Not a crit. He's not aiming for your head or anything, but he's not gonna have to roll to hit. But as far as the resistance, I haven't put the effect on there for you yet, so I'll just manually.
So should I hit cast or should I just hit the damage?
Go ahead and just roll the damage. And I mean, if anybody else is gonna try to hit her, then they'll have advantage on it. But just just roll the damage. All right, so that would have done 11 with you, where you immediately empower the spell, seeing this kind of glowing orb, this radiant, bright yellow orb, like the sun traveling towards you. You empower the space in the center of your chest where you know this is about to hit, and all of you see this kind of solidified plate. The only part that is not semi-translucent anymore, right before the bolt hits her in the chest, where it would have done 11. You only take 5 damage.
Oh! Feels like a punch to the gut. You know what I should have done is if I give you the stone. Oh, it's not.
Hit points back as you hit her with it.
You'd get basically the same hit points back as I hit you with it. We could do this all day. We could make a show out of it. People would pay so much money to watch me throw fucking bolts of radiant damage at you, and you just absorb it. We could call you the Iron Woman.
Well, we could do it 7 times a day.
Seven
you
times a
guys
day.
hear banging of steel, like triangles, like you know the dinner bell style triangles from like the Wild West. You know what I'm talking about?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like like a triangle from a band triangle as
Yeah,
well.
exactly. Yeah, like a music, like the instrument. They used to hang those in front of taverns and stuff.
Sure.
And when there was something important, they would just put that up, and then somebody puts a steel rod in the middle and bangs it around. You guys hear that, as well as like banging drums and everything coming from the courtyard below.
No, maybe we should get down there.
All right. Well, that was fun.
You can see over the edge, by the way, over the wall, right in the. We still have the map up, right in that corner. You can see down into the courtyard. Pepperjack is standing on the dais.
33 wounds.
You were still wounded from the fight, and then you just got blasted.
Yeah, but I think it was only. I thought I only had 17 damage.
No, I think it was higher than that. 27 or something like that.
Oh, I thought it was only 17. Okay.
It was definitely because I'm just dragged the 5 directly on there. I didn't even manually enter it, so it was definitely whatever it had been previously. Norok had 21, and you had like 28 or 27 or something like that. Like, it would have been 28 actually, just in the math. So, but you still, I mean, you've had time that you know you're not bleeding or anything like that.
Yeah.
All right.
And I'm gonna drop that so no one sees the freaky.
Okay.
You don't want to go out as a crazy ghost demon-looking lady.
No.
And I'll need you to remind me if there are cases where you have it up and don't realize it. But if you know for sure that will be scary to others, and it is going to. I put it in the notes there that it'll impose disadvantage and essentially charisma checks with people unless you're trying to intimidate them.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind and just remind me if you have it up and talking to people, so that in case I forget. Anyways, everybody going then? Everybody heading down to the courtyard?
Aye.
Yeah.
Norok, Arteme?
Yep.
Sure.
Okay. You make your way down there. Quando was going to go with you anyways, Norok, so he walks alongside you. He's taking his time on the stairs. You end up kind of having to go ahead of him just to make it down to the courtyard. He isn't needed in the courtyard. He's just going to help with you. Basically, he'd only asked for Pepperjack had only been calling for the Crowblinders and basically the military forces, not the civilians. But once everybody is kind of gathered around, you step onto the courtyard and it is packed full. Now, this place is big, but it's kind of intended for people to be kind of stacked on top of each other, the way the barracks are, for example. And there's still, looking over the crowd, you would all have a general estimate, maybe about 1,500 or so Crowblinders remaining. There's only 200 or 300 or so, maybe Miotau left. And then you don't see the civilians. Most of them are still kind of out in their, in the barracks and inside the Crow Force still.
Aye, Serafina, do you want to get on your broom and we can go up a little bit higher so we can see? I'm looking at straight ass here.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right, you guys hop up on the broom then and lift up enough to be able to see the crowd, see over the crowd, and see Pepperjack standing on the dais. He says, "Everyone, attention, please. I have news. It's not good, but it's important that I be frank with all of you. As some of you have undoubtedly heard, the Vabian Legion has named us the Chain of Dogs. You see, to them, that the dogs are low, mangy creatures, and but really, we of the North, we know better. Dogs are fierce, unrelenting, and most of all, dogs are loyal." And he kind of pauses for a moment. He looks down at his feet, as if he's kind of, contemplating what to say. He says, "His divine presence, Emperor Caius, has ordered my soldiers and I to retreat to Drumkane in the north, leaving all non-military personnel behind." And you guys already know this, of course, but there's kind of this alarmed murmuring going through the crowd. And he says, "I, High Fist John Rudin of the 6th Imperial, am hereby disobeying a direct Imperial order." And there are gasps, largely from the soldiers, from the Crowblinders. This Crowblinders, listen up. This will inevitably lead to every last one of us being branded outlaws or traitors. Stepping foot inside the Empire will be dangerous. Returning to your homes will be a deadly risk. I won't ask you to make that sacrifice. Anyone that wishes to leave will be given supplies and equipment for the journey, and you will be safely seen on your way. No hard feelings, no judgment. Those that wish to leave, do so with pride. Every last one of you fought bravely. Through grim tidings, unbearable losses, will return to your families with my blessing. But I cannot abandon these people. This chain of dogs, we survived, but the cost was too heavy to throw in the towel now. The Crowblinders that remain, we will set about further fortifying our position, form skirmish squads to harass the enemy, and most importantly, build a plan for extraction to get every last living soul out of here, out of this etch-forsaken borderland. We have food, we have shelter, and now we have a shit ton of ice to cool our ale in. We will fight on and continue being the ever-irritating thumb in Lord Crow's eye. And he pauses for a moment, and you get the impression that he might have been like waiting for cheers, but there just aren't any. It's
Woo!
you are literally the only noise that isn't like a confused and worried murmur is Pogo on a broom clapping and shouting over the crowd.
Cold ale!
Many confused, like frustrated eyes drawn your way. And Pepperjack actually looks over you, and there's just the very subtlest of grins. And then he says, Lieutenant Glover, Lieutenant Sampson, Lieutenant Strings. Oh, and the natural ones. He looks back at Pogo and you guys. He says, "Oh, natural ones. If you would meet me in the war room in 10 minutes, please." Dismissed. And the crowd starts to mill around and
I wasn't paying attention. I heard cold ale. What else were we talking about? I'm saying that as a joke to everyone. Everyone in our group, at least. The 9 o'clock show is totally different from the 6 o'clock show, everyone. Don't worry.
What are you guys doing?
Well, we've got a meeting in 10 minutes. That's just enough time, Arteme, if you want to go get fitted by the nice Neotau gentleman in the forge.
Yeah, I'm gonna go.
By the way, he called us the natural ones. Is that what he's been calling you?
Yeah.
I like that.
I'll tell you this too, that they take. It means different to them, to you guys, to the players, the natural ones.
It's all for Arteme.
Well, it's making fun of rolling it because even Fox and Becky and Ben used to roll a lot of ones too. It's been a little better now somehow, but anyways, that's of course where they got the name. But in fiction, it would give the impression of not rolling a one, but being natural at a being.
I liked it. It's a very good multiple entendre. Yeah,
exactly.
I enjoy it.
So you make your way to the forge. Arteme, you've already adapted to cold a little bit because the infirmary is a little bit colder than the rest of the place. And so getting to the forge is almost like unbearably sweltering. But you do see the same Neotau that had helped, I don't remember if you were there or not, but the same one that had helped Norak previously. His name was Raditz.
Yeah.
He is there. And, well, you do know the other one, the big one, the one that doesn't speak much, Doros. You recognize him as well. That was the relative of the Neotau that you guys let die. Remember?
Oh, the one that ended up.
The one you guys did the funeral. Yeah, the one that died.
I don't think we let him die. He ended up dying. If we could have prevented it, we would.
I don't know. Somebody's got to bear responsibility. I think it's you guys. He certainly holds it against you guys, apparently. But I'm just kidding. But you do find the two of them working. Gratis looks up when you step inside. He says, "Oh, Lady Arteme, are you the slight elven figure the little half man was asking about?"
And I'm gonna elbow him kind of in the knee. Be like, dude.
He just kind of reaches one hand down that is just covered in soot. Like he's got fur on his hands already, and it's already black. But the moment that he reaches down, he mushes your hair with this, like just kidding, little guy. But your hair is like sticking in all directions. Just like you're probably gonna have to like scrub your hair to get all this soot out of it.
Thanks. Goes great with the giant blood and brains all over the rest of me.
Yeah, you guys really haven't bathed yet either, and you were rained on with the blood of the Amora when it was blasted open directly above you.
Yeah, it's been a day, man. It really has.
No, that's been 8. Okay, I thought you meant since. Yeah.
No, been a
like
day.
An hour and a half ago.
Quite a day.
So, he says, "Well, miss, I mean, we'll do what we can, but what is this? The half man spoke of no metal. You want armor without metal?"
Yes.
I can't say I've got a lot of options for you. I mean, you have an idea of what you're really looking for? I'm a little confused.
Animal hide would work.
I mean, I can do that. Hide is fine. I wouldn't really call that armor. That's kind of just, to us, that's kind of skin. So I don't know, what you're like. If that's really what you're looking for, I mean, I'm gonna need. A good size out would give me.
What about that? What about some of the carapace or the skin from that gnarly creature that was flying around.
Yeah, I thought about it after you left when you mentioned it. I mean, that might work. It seems a little bit acidic. Like it might not be super comfortable, but if I can clean it well enough and cut the hide, close enough to still be flexible, you can probably still work around in that if that's what you're looking for.
What color is it? Out of curiosity, as the
it's
player.
kind of a reddish brown. The scales are like a reddish brown color.
That'd be fucking cool.
So what do you think, Lady Arteme?
Maybe a mixture of hide and scales for a bit more protection?
Well, I mean, scales is hide behind it. It's just a matter of kind of securing the scales to it so they don't fall off and give you as much protection as possible so that a knife doesn't slip up under it or something. But the problem is the scales, they tend to be noisy, and if you're trying to sneak around or anything, they clink together and kind of give yourself away. So the difference mechanically for Fox is that if you go with scale, your AC will be is your Dex 16? Dex is +2. So your AC then, if you went with scale, would be 16, but you'd have disadvantage on stealth checks. If you go with just hide without the scales on it, your AC would be 14, so one better than you have now.
That one is a 5% difference, though. That's pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, we get, because your AC right now is 13, as long as you're actually wearing your armor, is 13. With the scale, it'd bump up to 16, but disadvantage on stealth checks, or 14, so one better on your AC with no disadvantage. And of course, that does not apply if you wild shape. So if you wild shaped into a creature, that disadvantage goes away.
Okay, well, I'm not really good at stealth. That's a tricky one.
I mean, it's going to be a bit before I can start work on it anyways, so you're welcome to think on it and let me know.
Okay.
How much would that cost, out of curiosity?
For all she's done, nothing. I can get to work on
200 gold for a rapier for me.
100.
Oh,
And
100.
The one you have is fine. It's just a matter of making you a mastercraft. It takes time. It takes a lot of effort. Throwing together some hide and stitching some scales to it, that's not so bad. That's kind of our normal work anyway. And in all honesty, just because we tend to be upfront folk, you didn't pay me.
Did she pay you for something?
So Pogo.
No, I haven't. I know I haven't paid you yet. I'm just saying. I thought I must have misheard. I thought you said 200. I didn't realize you said 90.
No. Okay, so Norok, Arteme, and Sarah have dealt with the Miotau before.
Oh,
He's referring to a cultural thing, not a money.
Oh, all right. I understand. You don't know me yet. You'll get to know me.
I would tilt my head in thanks and ask, what about putting... Okay, this might sound a bit complicated, but a light hide, so leather with scales, and then leather on the other side to muffle. That way they wouldn't come together, it'd be muffled, and it would still offer a bit more protection. Would that work?
And it would only weigh 200 pounds.
Yeah, miss, I mean, if we were to do something like that, it's going to really impact your flexibility. You'd pretty much be wearing, a heavier armor than what you're asking for. The only way to really do that without them clanking together would be to wrap each scale in leather, which is one, very time-consuming, certainly, but it also adds a lot of weight. And you, Arteme, are not proficient in heavy armor anyway.
So that would be considered
just from the additional weight, yeah, which would give you, all of those have disadvantage on stealth checks. You can just think on it, miss. I got to get back to work anyways. Just drop by and let me know what you decide, and I'll do what I can to make it for you. I'll even I'll ask the soldiers if they can grab me a bit of the hide of that thing with some scales just in case, and I'll set it aside. And then if you decide you don't need it, we can toss it out.
Okay.
But at least he knows your size if we need to make it.
He knew Arteme anyways. He just didn't say her name. Yeah. What are you guys doing?
I'm going to wait around until the rest of the group is about to leave, and I'm going to catch up to them. But beforehand, I'm going to actually talk to the Neotau about something else.
Okay. Then are Norak, Arteme, and Sarah heading off to the meeting then in the war room? It's been about that time, so it'd be about time to head that way.
Yes.
All right.
Yeah, I'll go that way.
So I'm going to say I'll catch up to you guys in 1 minute, and then I'm going to ask the Neotau, do you have any small, like, woodworking tools that I could borrow just for a few days? Maybe just a smaller chisel and a small hammer, things of that nature.
Like a whittling knife? Is that what you're looking for?
A whittling knife would probably work. That would be fine.
He reaches over to his there's like a, so the bench that he's working on, there's like a shelf underneath it, and he reaches down and he pulls one out and he sets it on the table. He says, "This is what I use, but it's like the length of your forearm." He says, "I mean, I don't really have," and it looks perfect. It's like it's got a nice kind of curved, it's a straight long blade, and then the tip is like curved almost back on itself, like a hook that you'd use for kind of, you know, small details and everything, like a paring knife almost with a hook on the end. He says, "I mean, this is what I use, but I think this is probably a bit, more than you're looking for. But is this kind of thing you want?"
Do you have a smaller version of that? Do you have like a fine detail one that would, for me, be normal functional?
He says, "I can make you one, but I mean, yeah, it's going to cost you."
How much would it be for a small little guy like that?
He snorts again, and
Just
it's like
for wood.
it's what's the word? He's not an angry snort, but it's a snort of like dismissive, like you should know better kind of a thing. Give me a memory check or maybe a history check. If you can make a decent enough argument for any other skill, go right ahead. It's basically whether you understand something about Neotau culture or not. So if you've got an idea of, a better skill that is more, beneficial for you, as long as you can make a good enough argument.
Well, I'm going to tell him since the rest of the group isn't here. So, what I'm going to do, those daggers I took earlier, I'm going to go ahead and, they've only known me for a little while, and I'm going to make them some little presents. I'm actually going to carve some specific things into the handles of those daggers and give them to them, so that I can try to bring our group together, so that they maybe trust me a little bit more. You know how it's like being kind of the odd man out in a group of other strangers. So I just want them to understand that, I feel like we're more of a group now.
Make a persuasion check.
That's much better.
Get around the culture. Okay. He says, he kind of snorts. He says, "Okay, I'll take the commission then. I'll make you a small one. It might be, give me a few hours. Come back in the evening."
All right. Thank you. Appreciate it very much. And then I'm going to go catch up with everyone else.
He reaches out as you're walking away and kind of puts more soot on the back of your head as you're walking.
Perfect. Thanks. I thought you missed a spot earlier, so that was fine.
You're clear now. He gives you a thumbs up as you're walking away. All right, then you guys all heading to the meeting in the war room?
Yeah, and while we're walking there, after I catch up, I'd like to tell the group they know if we can help the Neotau with the funeral rites of their leader, if there's something that they know about that we could help with. Since they've been so helpful to us, and we fortunately lost a few of them in the last battle we were in.
You're asking that to the rest of the party?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not sure we can help them here. Are they even gonna do it here? Can they do it here?
You have heard that they intended to do it for a start before the attack, before their Crowfort was summoned.
I think we should really try to get that done and help them in any way we can.
Well, they might not want our help. Neotau or similar to the Yog, we usually tend to our own. So you can ask, but
well, even if it's just trying, to get the other people to give them the time and the things that they need in order to do that.
We already helped.
True.
I just don't want them to leave.
Sarah did say that they helped once.
Yeah.
No follow up to that, Pogo?
No, just basically it's. I just want to make sure that we can keep them here to help in this effort. Seems like they're more or less a necessity at this point.
Well, maybe we should find out what Pepperjack has planned, and then we can go talk to the Neotau.
Sure.
All right. Well, by then you guys have made it to the outside of the war room. There is a guard standing outside now. There had not been previously. In fact, when Sarah arrived looking a little earlier, there wasn't a guard and the door was open. But now the door is closed and there's a guard standing in front of it. But as soon as you guys approach, he kind of gives a big happy smile, and he's holding. You guys know what a halberd is?
Yeah.
Like a pole axe, like a spear with an axe in the end. He kind of sets that off to the side and just starts clapping, just loudly clapping, like obnoxiously. You're in a pretty quiet hallway, but outside this door. He says, "Badass work out there." The natural ones, that's an understatement. You guys fight like professionals. And he kind of catches himself. He says, "Oh, he's quiet." He says, "The commander's expecting."
I want to be like, that guy knows, that guy, and I'm gonna jump up as high as I can to give him a high five, and he, like, just barely
just
his nipple height.
gleefully, like drops the halberd again, which clanks against the wall, gives you a high five, and then reaches over, grabs the halberd, and kind of turns the door knob and starts to open the door. He opens the door. Inside, around that giant chunk of wood, like literally the cross section of a tree, is you see Lieutenant Clover. You see another man that you guys haven't met yet. Older man, hang on. A bit older. He's got bright red hair, but there's salt and pepper in his beard, and his face is covered in pockmarked scars. And has a very, like, extremely beat up violin on his back. You can see that strings are not even attached anymore. They're kind of up and curled around where they've been broken, and he just never bothered to fix it, apparently. But it's basically sitting on his back. But he and Clover are standing off to one side of the table, and Ozzy and Pepperjack are standing face to face and look like they're in the middle of an argument. And Ozzy is kind of shouting as you guys open. Not shouting, but clearly very angry. He says, "We've been over this, Commander. That's why we need her. That's why we founded the Shiroko in the first place." Pepperjack, very exasperated, he says, "You can repeat yourself 1,000 times, Ozzy. I get it. I just lack the capability to do anything about it. Her injuries are too severe, and the healers we have aren't dental devotees." And as you guys have kind of stepped in, he kind of looks over at you guys. He smiles weakly. He says, "Oh, how do you guys like your new accommodations?"
I haven't even been there yet.
Yeah, haven't really had the chance to check it out.
Haven't been there yet either.
But thanks! I haven't slept in a normal place in at least a week and a half. It'll be nice to get some dryness under my feet.
I can tell you from experience, it's a good, comfortable rest up there. One of those beds was mine, so treat her well. I suppose, as soon as you do have an opportunity, some of the higher-ranked pro-blinders may be knocking on your door from time to time just to kind of hang out in the old digs, if you guys don't mind.
I prefer it.
So he kind of chuckles. He says, "Well, down to business then. I saw you outside. You heard my speech. I and the soldiers that remain with me are going to go AWOL. So I've got to ask, what are your plans?"
Does anyone have?
We have any.
we all just look at each other for like 20 seconds. Like, I didn't even think we were going to get through that last battle. To be honest with you, we're kind of going.
I literally said, "Don't all speak at once." As all of them speak at once. So,
well, to be honest, everything that we've done so far is just going to make amazing stories and tales for me to just sing for years to come. So I think I'm just going to keep playing this and going with this group of merry ladies and gentlemen as long as I can. What are you guys up to?
That's good to hear. I mean, everybody needs a good story, and this has certainly been one. The rest of you?
And then I'm looking at my phone real quick.
We still trying to help all these people, right?
Yeah, I have someplace to be before Heliboris's end.
That's December. It's the end of the year.
But
You guys
other
can
than
get
that,
on the
I have no
calendar.
plans.
She's got a date.
I have a test.
I mean, isn't a date really a test? Am I right, Ben?
Ozzy says a test.
Horizontal's offered to sponsor me for my test,
He,
but I have to be there.
like, his jaw drops. His jaw drops. He says, "Etch, what business have you gotten yourself into, girl? It hasn't been that long since I sent you on your way."
It's been interesting. You have to have a talk.
We must. The rest of you, Lady Arteme, Norok, this Pepperjack. You guys like having to switch from one voice to the other so fast? Not confusing at all, right?
I'll hop out as long as I can.
Pepperjack says, we could certainly use the help. Big man,
Yeah, me too. I'll do what I can. Help out her anyway.
your shaman friend, I realize he still needs to be set to rest, as is customary with your people, right?
Yes, yes. Actually, that is something I need to tend to.
He kind of nods and he looks down at the map. He says, "Well, I mean, if you're still willing to help, I'll certainly help all of you get to where you need to be as best as I can. I'm going to get down to business here. Clearly, Ozzy and I are at a disagreement, and I'm just going to leave it up to you on where you're willing to help. Since these aren't, well, to be clear, none of these are really your problem. You decide to leave with the others, I won't interject, but we can certainly use whatever help you're willing to offer. It's been made abundantly clear that some force greater than us has its hand on your shoulders, and I won't balk at that semi-divine assistance. So the things we could use your help with, if you're willing, Ozzy here insists that we track down a dental arc so that we can heal the injuries your friend Maibi sustained, and Ozzy interjects immediately, like, still angry a little bit, like from their argument, or still hot-blooded. He says, "Look, with her help, we can blend in the dead south. We can infiltrate the Khan city and assassinate the Erdman responsible for the hostilities, and maybe stop this war, or stop this before it turns into all-out war." He says, "But to heal Maibi, though, we're going to need a dental art. The Mephuans, they had such a relic. It was called the Wood Sage's Chorus, what it was known as. I believe it's now held by the elves of Gwyn Ser, though, on the Monodoran Isles. Which, Arteme, that is where you're from, by the way. Originally. In
I
fact,
could definitely go help with that.
I think I have a note here that I meant to share with you guys earlier. Yeah, all of you know about the Monodoran. It's like saying Japan. It's like, everybody knows what Japan is and so on. So, anyways.
What was it? That word you said?
I almost actually answered. You were making a joke. Like I know that you've heard of Japan. Like, I just assumed that I said it weird. You didn't know what I said. But anyways, so everybody knows what the Monodoran Isles are. But did I put in the notes that it was wiped out? Yeah. So Ben and Becky, you guys of course remember that because you guys were kind of playing through that. When you guys had seeded the Eudrylene out there, the vine you dropped. In fact, specifically Becky, you as Nivara dropped the Vine Lash on those islands, and it wiped them out during the balance story. So, anyways, half of the, but not basically that was 9 years ago. So they've had time to rebuild some, but the kind of empire has been pretty badly crumbled. The Elven nation there, but that is where Arteme was born 600 years ago. Fox.
Something like that.
Good lord.
Well, elves live a long time, but specifically when Arteme was making, or when Fox was making her character, for Arteme's notes it said, for age it said, a gentleman wouldn't ask, or something like that. Like, that's what she put down. So that made me laugh.
She's got a weird thing about age, man. Secrets in age.
But Ozzy says all of that, that it's believed to be held by the elves of Gwyn Ser on the Monodoran Isles. Pepperjack shakes his head, very frustrated though. He says the islands are still not fully recovered from the devastations the Vine Lash wrought. The Moon Elves are not friendly to outsiders these days. Convincing them to hand over a dental artifact will take some care. Even if Lady Arteme vouches for you, I don't see this going in our favor. Certainly not.
What do you want us to do, Pepperjack? What's your idea?
Well, I appreciate you getting to that, because more importantly, and he gives kind of a staring daggers look at Ozzy. He says, more importantly, we need to get the teleportation circle back online. That means returning to the capital and convincing the Mage Cadre to disobey the Emperor. just like we are, or and he says this with a very clear, not muteness, what's the word I'm looking for, very clear, like air quotes. He says, or convincing the Emperor himself. Lieutenant Clover will be hitting up this mission. Either way, if you're willing to help, Ozzy has agreed to teleport you out and bring you back whenever you're ready. You can return to your homeland, see whatever family or business you might have, while helping the chain of dogs survive a little longer. There are other things to do as well. These are just our two most important missions, and considering your effectiveness at, let's say, against all odds style missions, and I'll acquiesce a little bit. Ozzy is correct that if we could, let's say, take out some targets behind enemy lines there and prevent this from turning into an all-out war, that would certainly save a lot of lives, maybe ours included. It is a worthwhile cause. I just don't know if it's worth what seems like low odds at actually retrieving the dental arc, being able to heal my ED, and then being able to go behind into the dead south and take care of whatever politicians are causing the hostility.
And after hearing him talk about that, I'd like to look at the guy with the red hair in the back, the one who looks like apparently a Irish Edward James Olmos.
Very much so. Yeah.
What about this quiet bard in the back? Who's this gentleman?
Lieutenant Strings, would you like to introduce yourself? He kind of steps up. They were kind of out of the main light in Clover. We're off to the side, out of the light that's directly above the table. He steps up. He says, "Well, to be honest, I don't really belong here. I don't really agree with the commander's orders that I should be promoted, and I'm going to be doing everything I can to make sure that I get demoted as possible."
That's, you know what's funny? I'm probably not supposed to be here either. That makes sense. I was on a boat, and then I'm going to quickly tell the entire story. Like
the entire story in the middle of it.
Just and then I'll be like, didn't know this was going to end up for me either. But interesting.
You go through the entire thing, spending probably a good 3 minutes of everyone else's time, and at the end you explain all that, and he just nods and goes, "Yep."
And then I'm gonna turn back to Pepperjack.
He does the same. He kind of looks at the commander and just stands there. Pepperjack just kind of grins at him. He says, "Whether you like it or not, it's kind of up to you. So you're going to be here whether you attempt to get a demotion or not." Strings.
Out of curiosity, which one of do you gentlemen can you at least agree on which one has the least likelihood of getting murdered by these other people?
Pepperjack says, "I don't understand your question."
Which one's safer?
Which mission is safer?
Yeah, which one do you think was safer?
The elves.
All right, we're gonna go get that portal online. No, I'm just kidding. So tell you what, is there any more details you can give us about these, or should we just go discuss this in our new digs?
I mean, so the Windseer is a little bit, underwater still. I don't know, really, we don't hear much out of, in fact, Lady Arteme may know better than we do. We don't get a lot of information out of the old Elven Kingdom anymore, especially since let's just say that their leadership is not so keen on human interaction or intervention anymore, since it was kind of believed to be our fault, the Empire's fault, Mist's fault. So they don't talk to us so much.
How do they feel about halflings like myself?
You likely would be assumed to be a Mistian citizen.
Yeah, right.
But Arteme can probably get you in. It's really less a concern of that and more of one finding the dental arc, which it could be anywhere. They may not even be there at all for just Ozzy. Last he knew, which, again, giving him benefit of the doubt, probably knows what he's talking about. I believe the dental arc is likely there, but where? It's a chain of islands. It could be anywhere. And even if you did find it, convincing them to give it up may not be easy.
Hi, Ozzy, would you be coming with us over here to the to find the dental arc?
He shakes his head.
I would shake my head and say the less people, the better.
Yeah, even if you wanted me to miss it, I have to stay here. One, if you intend to come back or intend to go back out again, anything of that sort, it's going to be my magic to get you there. And before you ask, really, the specifics of it, I can certainly teleport you out, but it's a relatively small circle. Lady Sarah, you may be familiar with this. It's only about 10 feet in diameter, so the amount of people that I could send out, even if I did it all day, every day, I'd only be able to get 10, maybe between 8 and 10 people out every day. So if we just sent group by group out, even if I did nothing else, it would take 2.5, 3 years for me to get everybody out of here. But that said, I can send small groups, a la you guys, whatever other soldiers that a commander wishes to send with you, and then bring you back.
All right.
As often as...
If I'm going to the Isles, I wouldn't want to bring anyone else with me. It'd make it a bit difficult. The only person that I would...
A little bit.
Well, yeah, Clover would probably be able to come, but was it Ozzy though saying he needed the thing? Is he coming or not?
He's not coming.
He has to stay to send you guys back and forth.
Clover's gonna... Clover would come with us.
Clover would probably be the only two I would want to go with.
She's not a moon elf, though, by the way. She is an elf, but she's not from the island.
Okay.
The Monodor and Island, so, well, I put it in there, but Islands of the Moon, that's where moon elf comes from. That's where your variation of the species comes from. She's a wild elf.
Okay. She would probably be somewhat welcome, but as people would be a bit more weary in gathering information.
She nods. He says, well, actually, when you say that, her jaw dropped a little bit as if when you said that you wouldn't bring anybody with you because she was maybe...
Well, she would be the only person I'd be willing to bring with me, is the clarification.
Without an insight check needed, it's clear that she probably would rather go there, but the commander interjects. He says, well, Clover has to head back to the city to see if she can maybe grease some palms and convince the Emperor to re-enable the circle.
Question. If we went to the Monodoran Islands and did all this and got behind enemy lines and killed some key people, would that help?
To be clear, you don't need if that's what you guys are willing to go help with, just if you can find that arc and bring it back, and that's that. If you prove yourself capable in espionage and assassination and you want to follow up with that, by all means, maybe you can go along with Clover. You all get the impression, by the way, that Clover that's her bag. She's very much an assassin. But anyways, but Pepperjack says though that what he's asking you to do is just find that arc so that they can help Maeve, because she's the one that can get everybody behind enemy line.
Okay, but would that help us in maybe convincing them to reopen the portals, teleportation circle? If we killed some key people behind enemy lines?
To be honest, Miss, it's kind of mix of one and half a dozen of the other. I'm really hoping that these hostilities can be stopped before they explode into something much worse. The Vabians are already, from what I've been told, attacking villages and small towns in the Reach, trying to gather as much food as they can, and we've got people starving there already. And if this grows much further and they attack, say, Gruncain, for example, it's going to become inevitable. And if we could prevent that before these hostilities escalate much further, yes, not only would that convince them, maybe we could even avoid a traitor's death for my men and I, but I don't know. Right now, I guess I'll put it this way, if we can get the circle working first, then we will evacuate we maybe go to Kedril, maybe we'll go to Pale, we'll go anywhere else that isn't part of the Empire. My people will, ingratiate themselves as best they can. Maybe we'll, live outside the Empire and hope that we don't, see too many repercussions. And the civilians here, the rest of the chain of dogs, we'll make lives as best we can, but it means not returning to the Empire. If we can manage to stop the war, maybe the Emperor would be a little more lenient and understand that we were going for the greater good.
I mean, there's still a chance that we could convince the Emperor to open the portal and forgive your action. It's not exactly outside the entire realm of possibility.
Give me perception checks, all four of you.
Sorry, was that supposed to be in the dice tower?
Doesn't matter. It's okay. Well, none of you noticed this. Noticed anything out of the ordinary, except for one of you. I'm going to send you a message. Just give me the got it when you have it.
Message in what? Discord? Where are we on?
No, in Fantasy Grounds here.
I'll be back and also overtime.
Yeah, we'll end here in just a minute.
Okay. I'll be right back quickly.
Okay.
Actually, I'm gonna go use the restroom real quick too.
All right.
Okay, so quick question. When he said to go to the capital and convince the Emperor, or was there somebody else besides the Emperor? I missed what you said.
The Erdeman. Oh, sorry. No, the Mage Cadre.
Mage. Okay.
So the Emperor is not a mage. He couldn't disable the circles. He just ordered them disabled. The Mage Cadre are the ones who maintain them. Here, I'll put that in the... It is... The Mage Cadre are the faction of the Imperial military that are mages. If you were a mage in the Empire, that's who you'd work, or if in the military, that's who you'd work for. They're also usually the only free way to, paid for way to get proper mage training is by joining the military, serving for 2 years, and you get your mage training for free. Unless you just happen to meet a super powerful archmage that's 2,000 years old and willing to pay for it for you.
Exactly. It takes a liking. It's fine.
I just put that up so we know when oxygen just turned it back.
Back.
Oop. We're about to wrap up anyways. Probably get it this way in a second, but
Oh, literally a second?
I mean, we're pretty much done. So
Didn't even get
there's
to
a little
check
bit
out
more.
our new digs.
What's that?
So I didn't even get to check out our new digs.
I'm back.
Okay. I mean, you could, but basically that's there. You guys can. I sent you the maps already, so you guys can. Check the place out. By the way, you don't necessarily need to leave immediately if you have other business to attend. Here they weren't suggesting, hey, go hit the teleport out right now. It's basically you guys rest up, heal up, help around the fort as much as you want to, and then go when you're ready. If you're willing to help, you guys.
Well, I was thinking that there'd be
teleport you back home wherever you want to go.
Maybe we should talk about this back at our new space at the beginning of the next the next game.
Sounds good. Everybody.
For everybody else.
Yeah, that works.
All right.
Right. Then let's go ahead and end here. Then next week is that would be next Saturday, the 18th.
Yep.
Should work for me.
Cool. All right, guys. Then we will. Was it Becky?
Before we leave, I just want to tell Ozzy to come find me and we'll have that chat.
He nods. He nods. He says, I'll knock on the door. You'll just have to show me around. I've never been myself. Oh, he did mention, you heard him mention a name in there too called the Scirocco, or Scirocco rather. You guys know what a Scirocco is?
No. And what am I looking?
What do you mean?
When I'm going back to homeland, what am I looking?
A dental dam?
Dental arc. So you guys
Dental
know
arc.
Arc, like the older rock was a specific kind of an arc. The sphere of the apple of Lumos that Sarah gave Lawrence Xantles, that was an arc. Basically, arcs are, you guys know what these are. They're just artifacts, like magic artifacts that are used for being able to draw more power than you otherwise would be able to. They're like
kind of like an electrical arc type, like.
No, arc, ARK, not C. They are. they're an empowerment or an embellishment on your own. If you had one, for example, then they're different kinds. But mechanically in the game, you would be able to upcast all your spells without anything extra. So if you had one and just it was functional for the kind of magic you were trying to cast, and you were casting a healing word, you'd be casting it like level 6 or 7 or something instead of 1, and it would only cost you the level 1 spell slot. A way of empowering your spells, basically. The Mage Cadre, Artematus asked, the Mage Cadre is a branch of the military that the mages belong to for the Empire. And that what the reason she was asking about that, Fox, is the Mage Cadre are who. So the Emperor had the teleportation circles disabled. He himself is not a mage. He didn't do it. He ordered the Mage Cadre to have that disabled. So going to the Empire, if that's what you guys chose to do, would be they'd be trying to convince the Mage Cadre to disobey the Emperor, or convincing the Emperor himself, or whatever. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, then, guys. Yeah, if you have other questions or whatever, you can throw them in Discord and everything too. You are kind of splitting up from here, so from the war room, unless you guys have other questions for Pepperjack or whatever. So basically, if you have downtime type activities that you want to do between the session, that's fine. You basically would have some downtime here that you could agree to spend the next hour just doing whatever it is you want to do, and then in the Kettle Keep, you guys can name the Kettle Keep still, all that stuff. So whatever you guys want to do. Anyways, then we will reconvene at 5:30. 8:30 Fox time on the.
All right. So
Okay.
any downtime stuff? Should we just put it in Discord? See
Yep.
if you want to.
Yeah, use your if
Make
it's
us roll
something
stuff?
that is exactly. If it's
Sweet.
specific to your character that isn't with the whole group, then just use your character channel. If it's something you guys
Yeah.
discuss amongst the group, you can do it in the Embers channel. You guys can roll in there. Fox or Becky rather did some rolling in there for something previously as well, so we will test it out.
Cool.
So.
All right, that's cool because I actually have a few things I'll bring up in there.
Cool.
All
Sounds
right,
good.
ladies and gentlemen. See you next week.
See you guys.
Okay.
Bye.
Thanks.